Welcome in, everyone, to episode 78 of the Battle Catz Podcast. I'm your host, Caleb Peng, joined by my co-host, Speedy as Chief 2.
Yo, what's up, Caleb? It's good to be back, man. How are you feeling?
It's good to be back, man. I got me and the cat right here. She's rolling around here. Look, girl, you run around, and this is what's going to happen. You all can see this on our YouTube page if you are watching this on YouTube. Either way, if you're not, drop us a subscribe, and leave us any comments. I was going to say this too. Feel free to drop any comments or questions in our YouTube videos, because on Spotify or Apple Podcasts and stuff, you can't really leave comments outside the reviews. I don't think you can even leave comments on reviews for Spotify, but for YouTube you can. So if you have any questions, maybe we can kick off the show every time with like questions we have from the audience from previous episodes, right? And some people will do it on our Twitter and stuff, but it's a little bit harder to access because it's not tied to the episode. But we're here. First episode seemed to be pretty good. I don't know how it looked for you all, but let me tell you, you don't even know this, Speedy.
I don't.
I think it was a pain, right?
Really?
So there's a few things, yeah. But I have the system down now. So I have a laptop. It's an Apple, right? It's a MacBook. So I have Final Cut Pro. It's an editing software just for Apple products. And then you can use Adobe Premiere, which is just with Photoshop, video editing as well, and all that stuff. So I have that as well. But because we record these on our desktop, I was thinking, you know what? Maybe I'll just try to figure out Adobe Premiere once and for all, right? I typically use Final Cut Pro, but this time I'm just going to try to figure it out because everyone seems to think that it's good. So I'm editing this. I'm trying to learn it on like Wednesday morning. And I was like, oh, this can't be too hard. And there's mad delay. But just on my end, not in your end. I think there's something weird. Maybe our webcam or our mics or something. But the video quality or format when we record are different. So
what?
Yeah, it's weird. So it's really odd. In the beginning, our mouths are synced up, and we're on different wave audio lengths, right? Yours is synced up throughout the whole time. Mine, midway through, I'm like, my mouth is moving, and my words are coming out like 5 seconds later, and then by the end of it, it syncs up again. And there's like over an hour and a half of like footage I had to look through. I'm like, I don't know where it desyncs, but it slowly deviates. And then I'm looking into this online. It's like a common problem. And it was like really hard to fix. And it's a common problem on Premiere. And yeah, I don't know how people fix it. So, and then one guy was just like, yeah, I mean, the fix is I just use Final Cut Pro. I was like, what? I just want to try to learn this software just to throw me back to that. So I need to hear from the audience who use Premiere Pro and have used Final Cut Pro. What is the benefit of Premiere Pro? Because right now, I thought it was supposed to be like the better software, but it looks way worse and way harder to use. I bring it to Final Cut Pro, and it's much easier. But here's the kicker: there's still a difference in our videos. Like your video length is either like a few seconds longer or shorter than mine. But we're on two different audio lengths, yeah. So if I line it up, like the video will end on my end. Let's say it was like 90-minute podcast. I'll say like, all right, peace out. And you're still talking for another couple seconds because it's not lined up. So what I had to do is I had to change your speed. I think I had to make you talk like 0.01% faster than me, like speed it up so that it kind of lines up. It actually still is not perfectly lined up, but I don't think anyone can tell. So there might be times where it seems like we're talking over each other, but it's because it's slightly out of sync. But the audio lengths are tied to our video footage, so it doesn't matter, right?
Dude, I've done 6 seasons of GVLA. I've imported a lot of like battle footage and tried to sync them up and figured out a lot of things. Like I've gotten like video footage from phones from Asia, from India, from Europe, from everywhere, right? Trying to get these battles lined up. And I've only had that happen to me one time where like the battle sounds and the video, there's something about like the encoding of the process. It gets like bogged down and it slows down. So like the battle started fine, 3, 2, 1, go. But then by the end of it, like the other one trainer was like still performing their charge attack when on the left side, the battle was already done.
Oh, yes. It's super frustrating, right? Yeah. So what do you do? Did you speed up one video more than the other to like time, like?
So it happened a couple of times. One time it was just so bad. I was like, screw this. I'm not like spending all my time doing this. But one time, the first time it happened, I actually looked at the charge moves, and that's where it slowed down the most, when there's the most like motion on the screen. Right. And I had to go to each charge attack animation and speed it up like 1.12%. right? And then it actually lined up and the charge
Yeah.
attacks went through at the same time. But every single charge attack throughout the entire game, it took forever to do
Yeah.
that. But yeah, I know
But-
what you mean. It's something about the encoding process.
Yeah. And back, it's probably like a little over a year ago,
Mhm.
I was making YouTube videos. I realized when I was recording, so I have a mic and I have a camera. And so I used the footage with the camera, obviously, and then the audio with the mic
Mhm.
because the mic is just higher quality. And same situation, the audio would like they wouldn't sync, right?
Yeah.
Like for some reason, like one of my audio files, because the audio file tied to the video, it's like
Mhm.
shorter or longer. So and it just desyncs like over time. So what I do is like every 5 minutes, I like cut out audio and like resync it. And like YouTube videos can like some YouTube videos are over 30 minutes long, right? I'm sitting there for like
Yeah.
over like 30 minutes trying to sync it up, and then luckily, again, Final Cut Pro coming in clutch. There's a sync audio feature, and I press that, and now it's just like instantaneous, so it works out. But
Nice.
yeah, it just took me way too long to figure that one out. So we'll see. And then the other problem that I ran into was, so usually when we edit the audio, I use audio editing software. It was Adobe Audition,
Yep.
I believe what it's called, and I just publish it as an audio file, whatever. But now we're on, because I'm editing on a video software, I'm trying to publish just the audio, and they don't have a MP3 option. They only have like MP4A or like
Yeah.
WAV and stuff like that. And so
Yeah.
I upload it, and I'm like, why is this not on Spotify? I don't know if anyone else noticed, right? And my apologies to those that were trying to find our episode on Spotify on Wednesday. It was on Spotify. It was on Apple Podcasts and other stuff. But I think most of our listeners do use Spotify for our
Mhm.
audio listeners. And I'm like trying to figure it out. And apparently Spotify only accepts MP3s. So I published this thing, and I had to re-export it into
No.
Audition, and then like convert it into MP3, then re-upload it. Which is why, for those listening on Spotify, my apologies if it felt like it was delayed a day or so. I woke up in the middle of the night. I was like,
Yeah.
why is this still not working? I thought it was just like delayed, but turns out you
Yeah.
need like MP3. Girl, what are you
Dude,
trying to
I
do? My
know
cat.
everyone who's just listening isn't going to see this, but if you're watching the YouTube right now, you can see Caleb just getting like constantly like badgered here for
Yeah.
attention.
Yeah. She's like constantly crossing over. I don't think she wants to be held, but at the same time, like, go. You gotta
Yeah.
chill.
She
You
wants
gotta
to be
chill.
like scratched, but also, not too much, typical
Yeah.
cat stuff.
Yeah, exactly. Typical cat
Um,
stuff.
I was just gonna say it's so crazy being a creative like yourself, like myself as well. There's so much that goes into like the background. A lot of people
Mhm.
say, "Oh, just make a video or just watch a podcast, just record
Sure.
the audio. It's fine." There's so much work that goes
Yes.
into it. It takes so many hours
Mhm.
to make just one piece of content. It's
And
tough.
there's no shortcut. You would think like
No.
after so many times, there's like, oh, you'll figure out an easier way to do it. Like at a certain point, you're like, there's no shorter way. Like I can only move so
Yeah.
fast editing this. I mean, that's why a
You
lot of
can
big YouTubers, they have editors. But for me, I'm not really a big YouTuber yet. And also, like, I think
yeah.
also this a lot of the stuff that I do for like at least my videos, like it's the editing stuff is not the problem. Like I need to like structure everything, right? And like if I'm sitting there telling
Yeah.
someone to do it, like I could probably do it in that same time period.
Exactly. You can create like templates, right? And you can know like how you want things to go. And yeah, sure, like the more you use a program, the more familiar you get with it. But there's always that time you have to put in. And it's a very solitary thing as well. It's not like you can video edit and watch like a football game in the background. You have to like
Oh yeah,
listen
definitely not.
actively,
Mhm.
visually you have to watch. It's like
Mhm.
really dedicated. Multiple senses are all dedicated to that one thing. So it's a very solitary pursuit.
Yes, yeah. I mean, yeah, if you could just listen to a podcast while you edit, like that'd be a lot easier too. But
Yeah.
yeah, no, it's
Yeah,
not
exactly.
like that. It's not like that. But speaking of layouts and everything too, shout out to Palmer's Up again for our awesome layout.
Yes.
And we got a surprise for you all too for those watching. I know we're talking a lot about the YouTube version. If you're just listening to audio, no problem. You don't have to transition or
Yeah,
nothing.
yeah.
We'll still be uploading audio. But later on in the segment, we're gonna have some new layouts here for some of these events that's going to make it more aesthetically pleasing for our video audience. But anyway, like I said, no need to switch over here. But if you have questions for us, if you're an audio listener, just check out our YouTube video and drop a question there so we can cover it for next time. I don't think we had any questions from last time, but if we do, I'll just cover it for next time around, unless you find something right now.
I don't see anything right now, but yeah,
Okay.
it's just like the YouTube is like the new thing, right?
Yes,
So
yes.
we appreciate everybody getting on board. I think we eclipsed 69 subscribers in the first week. Nice.
Yeah, someone sent me a message saying that it was RC Cola. He was like, "Hey, like 69
Yeah.
subscribers,
Same.
Oh, he did to
Same.
you too. Okay,
Yeah,
gotcha,
yeah.
gotcha.
But Caleb,
I
if we
feel
get
less special
69,
now.
if we get
Go ahead.
69 every week, then we'll have 1 million in no time.
That's true. Yeah. I mean, the way the math adds up, like it'll be pretty quick. It'll be pretty quick.
Pretty fast.
But
Yeah.
anyway, we got there's a lot to cover, I think. So it was funny.
Yes.
So for those that are listening last week, we dropped the episode on Wednesday, but an announcement came out for an event like later after that day we recorded, or the next day. So we didn't end up covering it. So some winter holiday events. But before we get into that, actually no, let's talk about the winter holiday stuff first, because the regional happened technically later. So like I said, if you're listening here, you'll see on the video thing, you'll see a neat graphic right now, but it is going to be the Winter Holiday Part 1 events. And this graphic was made from the Pokemon Go app. It's been live since the 15th all the way until the 23rd. I kind of think the spawns are pretty cool, but we'll see. This is just part 1, so I assume there'll be at least a part 2. Unlikely a part 3, but might be a part 2. But we had the debut of Mega Glalie, which I have 100% of. So I was like, oh, all right, easy Mega right there. One more for the collection. I think it's just pure ice though, so not the most useful for typing, but we have a Bomb Snow too, so it's a nice one just to kind of slowly power up to your Mega collection. But then we have the return of the Winter Carnival outfit, Pikachu, Spheal wearing a holiday outfit, Stantler wearing a holiday outfit, Glaceon wearing a holiday outfit. And here's the thing. I was just like catching random stuff and I was appraising later. I found a rank 1 Ultra League Walrein for the Spheal wearing the holiday outfit. You can't evolve it. It's 050. You can't evolve it.
It's useless.
I mean, it happened for Toxicroak for the Fashion Week thing, so maybe one day, but just I'm holding on to it. I mean, imagine a timing on that, because then we have the community day this past weekend, and you could just evolve it during that time period, right?
So question here, Caleb. We see the Spheal wearing the holiday outfit, right? It's got like that red, green, and gold scarf. Question is, if it evolved to Walrein, would it go around Walrein's neck, or would it be like a sash, like over its shoulder and its fin?
Dude, I'm hoping it just gets bigger. So I'm hoping like it's like a
one.
way thicker like scarf for Celio, and then for Walrein, it's just like a winter knit like sweater, just encapsulates it. Yeah, it just gets bigger and bigger, But based on what they did with Toxicroak for the Fashion Week outfit, it seems like they're just going to stretch it. So it might be like, because Toxicroak, like the horn just points through the hat, which is kind of comical.
Yeah,
but
it is.
So it seems like they didn't even change the outfit. You just kind of, it's kind of like those pictures of like kids where like they have their favorite like blanket or something, and there's like a picture of them as an adult holding the same blanket. And it's like a quarter of the size, right?
Yeah.
Maybe something like that. But we have Cobalion back in raids, which is a pretty good one for Ultra League. I've been using it. It's great. And yeah, outside that, nothing wild. 7-kilometer eggs. The most meaningful thing is Aurora. Wait, no.
Amora.
Amora. Sorry. I couldn't read the font small. Amora. Yeah, the pre-evolution of Aurorus, which is not bad. Aurorus is kind of more of a spice pick. It could be good in Go Battle League in some limited formats. Hard to use in Show 6, but is still solid, so that's a good one. Bergmite can also be shiny now too. That's a big one, because Hisuian Avalugg, people have been saying is pretty good. It has like how much more CP? Like 900 more combat power.
It gets
in Master League.
3909 in Master League.
Yeah, it got a big stat product boost, the Hisuian version over the non-Hisuian version. So get XL Candies for that. Who knows? It might be interesting. I've been collecting them. No shiny for me yet, but it is going to be Bergmite Spotlight Hour today, Tuesday, which by the time you hear this, too late. Hopefully you got the shiny though. Hopefully you got the shiny, but unfortunately our episodes come out roughly Wednesday at noon PST.
Noon PST. I'm excited. I'm actually to your point about the eggs. I'm actually hatching the eggs because I want Sneasel XL. The reason I want Sneasel XL is because I have a Sneasler that I'm building for Master League Premier. It's a hundo.
A Sneasler?
Yeah.
Wait, you need a hundo for that?
Yes, for Master League Premier coming up this season.
Oh, Master League Premier. Sorry, Master League Premier.
Yeah, no worries.
You got Dustin Sven. Do you have 100% one?
I do.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
I have the hundo. It gets to
Oh yeah, I usually.
3643.
Oh, I don't have a lot of Sneasel. I thought I would have a lot of Sneasel Candy XL after,
Me too.
after I have like
It,
51.
yeah, exactly. It's been in the winter events every single year. It's like a
Mhm.
common spawn. We even get it like throughout the year sometimes, but I still
Yeah,
need a bunch more XL. So I'm pretty
yeah, yeah.
shocked by that.
I guess it's not like you typically want to get it weather boosted, right? Because dark type was foggy
Mhm.
weather, right? And
I believe so.
then ice type it's snowy weather. But I mean, it never snows here, and it probably doesn't snow where you're at either. So for us, it's pretty uncommon. Um,
Exactly.
but yeah, that's pretty much it. I mean, I think the spawns are fine. Oh, they do have shelter in the research encounters,
Ooh,
so
you
that's
know what
pretty
that
nice.
means?
I've been banking some.
You've been
I
stacking, huh?
I ain't trying to lose the next Stardust bet, man. But I don't know. It might be a while too, like you said, triple Stardust. So we'll see.
Mhm.
But yeah, I need to bank some of those. Yeah, I think it's catch 7 ice types will get you the shelter.
Yep.
I also don't have a shiny shelter yet. That one's been shiny for a long time.
Really? You don't have an
So
orange shelter? Come
no,
on.
I don't have an orange shelter. And here's the thing: I had 100% shelter once. It was wild. So what I did was I think I banked a bunch of or I had a bunch of research encounters that I caught when I was playing one of these events. I think it was like some water event,
Mhm.
and I was talking to someone I was dating at the time. Right, she was living with me. We're on the couch, and she was telling me all this stuff about her, like best friends, like drama and everything. I was listening. I was being a good boyfriend listening, but at the same time, I was also praising my Pokemon. Okay,
Oh yeah, multitasking.
I mean, yeah. She knew, right? But I was like, yeah, I'm just fine. This is kind of mindless, right? But like, for it was wild. I think like there were at least 5 or 6 hundos when I was appraising, and these are just like Whalmer, like Psyduck, Shelder, like so just random water spawns, right, from the research stuff, and maybe just wild catches just from walking
Mhm.
around earlier. So every time I saw them, I was like, oh whoa, what the frick? It was like years ago, right? It's like 2018 or so, 2017. So like
Yeah, yeah,
these
yeah.
like these like we didn't have as
It's
many
pretty hype.
100%. Yeah, it's pretty hype.
Yeah,
And so I'm trying
yeah.
to keep it together while she's telling me this story about her, her best friend and all the drama and stuff that's going on and stuff. And then, of course, I'm transferring. I starred them and I transfer all of them, right? And then after our convo, I go back and double check. I was like, yeah, let me look at the 100% I have. I was like, wait, well, I'm in the shelter. And I must have forgot to star the 100% shelter, but I started all the other ones. So I transferred my 100% shelter that I found like literally like 5 minutes prior, 30 minutes prior. And ever since then, I'm trying to find redemption and get this shelter back. Yeah.
Oh man, dude,
Yeah, I will
they're
say when I explained
perilous.
to her, she was sympathetic. All things
Oh
considered, even though
really?
she didn't play Pokemon Go, she's like, "Oh, you lost it." I was like, "Yeah, yeah." I was too busy listening to
Well,
your combo. But
maybe you can take some solace in the fact that rank 1 shelter for ultra is a 0-14-14. So the hundo is great, but for PvP, for ultra league cloister,
yeah, yeah,
zero
yeah,
fourteen
for
fourteen.
sure. I mean, there's no actual util there. Let me just double check to see if I ever got that redemption. I don't think I would have. Nope.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't have a shiny, and the best one I have is like 96%. Yeah. So, but anyway, so yeah, I'm personally looking for some redemption. Maybe there'll be 100% shelter somewhere there. I mean, I almost feel like if I get it. Oh,
Uh-huh.
okay. All
Uh-huh.
right. All right. Those that
Flexing.
are
That's
listening, watching the video
2021.
version, Speed Chief flexing this orange shelter. Dude, the shiny version of that is really nice too. Like the
Yeah.
coloration is perfect, and the cloister too, right? It's like got some weird like
Mhm.
two tone or whatever. Um,
Yeah. It's
I'm
like
saying
a
two tone because like that's what my ex said. I was telling her it was the same thing. She's like, yeah, that's a really cool shiny. I was like, yeah, I don't have it. I also transferred 100% like earlier, but you know,
yeah.
but
You should hit her with the classic phrase, man. At the end of the story, after you heard everything, all the details, just say, "Man, that's crazy." That's what you have to say.
is that what you do? I'm gonna take note
Oh
of
yeah.
this on the
Oh
podcast
yeah.
now.
Yeah.
If you
Yeah.
say that, right? The
Oh
worst
yeah.
is if she's asking me a question and she'd be like, like, yeah. So what do you think she should have done there? And I'm like, man, that's
That's crazy.
crazy. Yeah.
But
She's
but
gonna be like,
still, like,
what?
she's like, "Yeah, it's crazy, but what do you really think?" And like, I don't know. Could have gone either way, you know?
Dude. Seriously. I mean, miscommunication was like a cornerstone of our relationship too. I'll tell you a little
Well, there you
short
go.
story, right? This is
Okay.
unrelated to Pokemon Go, so bear with me, y'all. But I think it's a good story. When I was a kid back in the day, obviously back in
Mhm.
the day, 'cause I was a kid. But so when I was younger, whenever I have a nightmare, and this is really weird. I don't know how to describe it, but my nightmares were like a rush of emotions. It didn't matter what the actual nightmare. It wasn't the topic. It wasn't like, oh,
Yeah,
someone
yeah,
trying to
yeah.
kill me or something like that. No, it was like I've had nightmares about like chess or like in the parking lot, like random stuff. But essentially what it is it's very calm for a while,
Uh-huh.
and then suddenly gets very like angry, right? Like someone's really angry, and then all of a sudden it calms down, and then goes like very angry again, like back and forth. It's like very intense emotions on like polar opposite sides.
Interesting.
It's very hard to describe because like I remember once I was literally playing chess, and it's just like it was a nightmare too because of the emotions associated with it, not the actual
Mm,
chess, right?
yeah.
And what would happen is every time I have these nightmares, it would usually be after a really bad day or a really good day. It's really bad days. It was usually like I was arguing with my mom and stuff, and we get into a big argument. And I
Mhm.
have nightmares. I didn't have as many nightmares from those. It was really the really good days that happened. So, like
Really?
for
Like a fear
instance,
of things going wrong?
no.
Like
Like I just
like
had a
things
really good
like
day, and I go to sleep, and then I have the
but like
nightmare.
things are too good, right? So your
They're almost
subconscious
too
is
good.
like
I
something bad has to happen.
I don't even know. I don't know what the logic behind it may be. Someone psychoanalyzed me, I guess. But I would go to sleep, and this will always happen on my birthday. I'd wake up, and every time I had these nightmares, I wake up crying, right? So my mom always knew at a certain point, she's like, man, all right, he's about to go to sleep. It's his birthday, right? We just had a
It's his
birthday party.
birthday
He's going to wake
again.
up crying, right? And I'd be crying, and she'd come in my room and comfort me, right? And this happened when I was a kid, and obviously I
Mhm.
eventually outgrew it. I eventually outgrew those nightmares, actually. I don't know why I don't have those anymore, but they're pretty freaky. I don't know why.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
But so this was with when I went on my first date with my ex. I was telling her about this story, right?
Mhm.
And you know, and it was, and she was like, "Oh, that's weird." It's like, yeah. And later that night, she she texted me. She's like, "Oh, it was like I had a good time today," and it's like hope you don't have any nightmares. Um, and then I thought she was making a callback to that reference, right? Like I was like, "Oh, yeah, it's such a good day. I hope you don't get a nightmare." And then so I
Okay.
responded like banter wise. I was like, nah, it was a pretty bland day, right? Like with like a smiley face. Like I was like joking, right? I was like, yeah, like of course it was a good day, right? I had a good first date. Like we are down to like go on a second date, but I was just trying to banter a little bit. I was like, like be
Mhm.
playful, right? Um, and then she just responded with a smiley face, and that was it. And then we end up dating, right? And it was like months later, she's telling me, she was like, yeah, like I was like, oh, she's like, yeah, I told my best friend about you like after the first day or so. I was like, oh, dude, I was like, did you say good things? She said, yeah, for the most part, but I said you're a little bit rude sometimes, or like a very too honest. I was like, what did I do? And then she copy and pasted a dictionary.com definition of the word bland. And I was like, I was
No.
like, what? And she said, yeah, like I thought it was rude that you said your first date with me was really bland, like you had a bland day. And I was like, girl, you know that like I was just joking, right? Like I thought you were making a callback to me like
Yeah.
having nightmares because
Like
it's a really good day. And
like I
she
thought we were on the
said,
same page here.
yeah, for months, right? This was 3 or 4 months later. She's telling me this. And she's like, what? She's like, what do you mean? I was like, did you forget about my story? Right. And I think she forgot about the part where I would actually have a nightmare after a good day. And she would just remember the part that I had nightmares as a kid. So I was like, yeah, no, we completely are on different wavelengths here. Like I'm surprised I even got a second date after that, after she thought that. Imagine you went on a date with
Yeah.
someone, they told you like, nah, it was like kind of a bland day, right? Like it was a kind of bland
Yeah.
day. It wasn't
Well,
good.
for her, that second date was probably like make or break, right? Like if he continues to be that way, this is
Yeah.
like our last date. But
Yeah.
you didn't even know. You're just like, yeah, let's go on
I
a
didn't even
second date.
know.
That was
Me
great.
on my hand, I'm like, yo, I'm smooth, right? Like I played
Yeah,
it
yeah,
off. It
yeah.
was a great joke to end the day, right? Like can't wait
Yeah,
for a
yeah.
second date. Yeah,
Dude,
miscommunication
we're
there. I don't know whose
we're
fault
gonna
is that. I thought that would be like an easy, you know, like joke to get,
it's
right?
when you're first starting to get to know somebody, and this
Hmm.
goes for like any kind of group setting, not even just
Yes.
dating, but like you have to be really careful about like the jokes that you make, right?
Hmm.
You can be around a bunch of people and maybe you like have like a mutual friend or something, and you're like, oh yeah, that person likes to drink, they like to go to parties and drink. It's
Hmm.
like you can take that as like a really fun thing, like, oh, this person sounds like they'd be a good time at parties. Or some people would be like, yeah, so and so said that person's an alcoholic. It can be like it can go either way. You just don't know that person yet. So it's really hard to like pick safe jokes. And like, yeah, again, I think that maybe like she just didn't realize what you were getting at, or she just forgot.
Yeah.
But then, you can reverse psychology, reverse it on her and say, oh yeah, but you didn't even pay attention to what I said earlier, so it's
I was
honestly your
already on
fault.
thin ice there, so I didn't feel like bringing that up, right? but yeah,
Dude,
that's what I was thinking. I thought it was an easy joke to reference, right?
we're going to talk about this later as well, but I don't know, man, you must have just come off like really arrogant with the way you said things, You get it?
Oh,
You get
I
it? You
like
get what I'm
it. I
saying?
like it. A little segue. I like it.
I'll tell you to your face. You just seem a little arrogant to say that.
Oh man, we got some good tea segments coming up. But
Oh,
anyway, so that's the winter part 1 event. We'll find out what part 2 event is. I mean, my guess is winter part 2 event is going to drop like sometime after
after this recording.
after this recording. Yeah. So you might get it a week later as well, but
Dang
we
it.
can't control that. But also we have an event Vivillon. So let me cue up the graphic for Vivillon on your screen right now. But anyway, when I say cue up for a screen, I'm just taking a note of the timestamp so I can edit it later.
Me
We don't
too.
actually see anything. But anyway, Vivillon. So this is a graphic from Galix, creator that helps with a lot of Go Stadium graphics and does a lot of great graphics too. But Vivillon was released. You want to break it down for us, Speedy, on how this all happens?
Dude, I
I heard
honestly
you're a
was
Vivillon expert. You got like a whole zoo full of butterflies.
speaking of bad dreams after good or bad days in life as a kid. Do you ever have that dream where you showed up to class and you were like totally unprepared and there was a pop quiz or something?
Dude,
There's like an exam, but you forgot your book. That's what I feel like right now.
To this day, that's how you feel right now.
That's how I feel right now in
To
this
this
moment.
day, I still have school dreams. Like I haven't been in school since 2016. And 2016, and I've still have school dreams and nightmares, and they're usually high school. It's less like your thing. It's even worse, I think. The dream I have is I wouldn't be going to class for the entire semester because I just forget I have the class. I went to the first one, I forgot. And all of a sudden, I'm like, holy crap. I have like 10 projects due and a final to study for. All I have to do in this weekend and somehow make up all the attendance I missed. And it's usually like English or something too. So like that's like 1,000 papers you have to write. That's a dream I get.
I think that might come from like the anxiety of being in college and like designing your schedule and then like remembering to go to class. Cause that was like, the first time in our lives when we weren't like on a bus or in the car with the parents going to class, it was up to you to wake up and do it. And a lot of kids can't pull it off, like I had a lot of friends who like, oh man, I missed my 8 a.m. again today. Like, oh, well, I guess I'm going to fail.
Yeah. My first semester in college too, it was calculus and it was a freshman. Mostly it was freshmen in the class. And I remember like I was going through the final. I was like, man, this is kind of tough. Like, like we'll see how we do, right? It was a very final. And we had about like 10 minutes, maybe 5 minutes left in class. All of a sudden, one of my classmates burst through the door and is like panting, sweating. You could tell like this guy just woke up. He's still at bed. And he's like, oh, sorry, I overslept. Like I still take the final. And the professor's just like, yeah, here you go, right? And so he goes, and this guy's like taking the final in front of class, like in the corner, right, with 5 minutes left. I mean, I guess the professor let him stay a little longer, but there's another class about to come in too. And for the last 5 minutes of class before the class is over, the final time over, I could hear this guy still panting for 5 minutes because he must have just booked it as fast as he could, right? I mean, imagine running as fast as you could from your dorm room to class and still only have 5 minutes left. If you walked any slower, it would have been over, right? And it was probably his first final of college too, because I remember it was my first one. And I just remember thinking at the time, like, regardless of how I do on this final, like, at least I'm in a better spot than this guy.
Exactly. Oh my God. So I was never in that situation, but yeah, no, with this whole Vivillon feature, I don't know. I was kind of hoping you would kick it off because I've not really been into it, to be honest.
Okay, well, I'll see. Yeah, so passing off to trying to cheat off of the kid next to you for this pop quiz, right? Let me tell you, you're cheating off the wrong guy here. You're cheating off the wrong guy.
Let me see your notes.
Yeah, it's gonna be blank if you look at my test. You'll be waiting for me to write an answer for way too long. But anyway, so from what I know, Pokemon Go did release Vivillon into the Pokemon Go. It's actually so Scatterbug, and then I think it's Spewpa, and then Vivillon is the final evolution. So some progression there. But the Scatterbug you catch can be from different region essentially. And so what you do is it's really to take advantage of the pinning a postcard option. So people send you a gift and then you could pin it. If you pin a certain amount, you get a chance of encountering a scatterbug, right? And you see this from your I think it's like a scatterbug medal or something. Just look at your look at your medal that has like the least completion because it's no one's probably done it yet, right? I think
zero completion.
Yeah, zero completions, right? And they'll pull you to a map too with the different regions, and they have a ton of one. They have like a garden region, archipelago, continental, all this stuff, right? Ocean region. And so if you get gifts from those regions, you pin it. You have if you pin a certain amount, you'll get a Scatterbug from that region. You can evolve it to Vivillon from that region, and essentially, it's a way to collect Vivillon from all over the world. And so, if you have friends, international friends, great. If not, go to Twitter, go to social media, go to Discord, try to find people to add you. Go to Reddit, even, yeah. But so that's a great way to do it, and then you can get different patterns. I don't think this is really PvP relevant, so not a huge thing for maybe some of the people that typically follow our content, but it is good for collectors. Some people like it. Some people love pinning postcards in general too. So that's good. Yeah, you have to pin 3 postcards from the same region to kind of encounter it. So I made the mistake. I was like pinning 1. I was like, what's happening? Like nothing's happening. But you have to pin 3 at least to get the scatterbug.
Gotcha. Yeah, there's so many different variations.
There is.
Go ahead.
No, I heard that you don't have any. You don't have any scatterbugs.
Dude, I have exactly 0.
Okay. Well, here's why you're cheating off the wrong guy in class, because I also have 0. So
let's go. Nice. I'll see you in class next semester.
Yeah, we're both staying back for sure. For sure. We're in the same nightmare. But yeah, so there's that. Either way, so that is a nice little collection tool, I guess, if you would like to do it. But I personally haven't done it yet. I'll get to it eventually. I mean, I don't think it's a feature going away anytime soon. I know some people are big into completing it, and I know some people are getting kind of pissed because they'll be on Twitter and be like, "Hey, I'm looking for someone from like Archipelago," and they're like, "Yeah, I'm from that region," and they'll pin a postcard, and they're like, "No, you're not. You're like not from this region
you're from
at
Utah.
all." Yeah, exactly. You're like, yeah. Sometimes it's usually like a little bit more neighboring, but I'm just like they completely got their region off, and they're just like, I just add you for nothing, right? And I'm sending you because they're like, it's a mutual exchange, right? I'm gonna send you a gift from my region, you send me a gift from your region, stuff like that.
Yeah.
But yeah, people be pinning all the postcards they'd be sending too these days.
It's funny. Like there's a phrase or like a term. Sorry about the camera, by the way. If you're watching the YouTube version, my dog just sat on the leg of the camera, so
gotcha.
Wiggled. Then I had to move her.
You're not going to pick her up and show in front of the camera.
No, she's a little heavier than the cats. But some people are like what I call completionists, right? Like if they see something open, like a research task or something that's not finished or a medal that's not done, they like it's like almost an OCD borderline thing where they need to work on it. They need to complete it and get it to maximum level. And some people are like, some PvPers appear to be hardcore completionists because they are working hard on those medals. People I didn't expect, and I see it on Twitter, like you said.
Yeah, some people definitely are like that, and it is what it is. Some people like it, some people are not as completionist. I myself am not. I don't have I'm the kind of person that evolve Pokemon when I need to use them, right?
Yes.
So I don't think there's a lot of starters I don't have evolved yet because I'm like, I don't need it yet, right? So there's a bunch of I'm trying to think. It was like the water one that has like charm.
I know what you're talking about. It's Poplio's evolution.
Yeah. How are we blanking on this? It's a good thing we're not commentating.
Primarina.
Primarina, yeah. I don't have a Primarina yet because I haven't used it. I mean, it's pretty good in Master League. That's about it at the moment. I mean, maybe in Ultra League, but not really. And I'm not really a big charm user, so I haven't evolved it yet. But I'll evolve it on Community Day probably.
Yeah.
So,
dude, speaking of completing things, just one more side tangent here. Speaking of completing things, I really like New Year's. It's probably my second favorite holiday behind Christmas. Really? And I really feel like, I feel like it's a good time for like renewal, refreshing, like reorienting yourself towards your goals and like taking a breath, right? Taking a quick moment to reevaluate the year. And part of that is like clearing out all my stuff in my bag, like doing all the trades I need to do, clearing out my inventory, getting the research done. I have like a bunch of research tasks that aren't finished yet.
Dude.
And I'm like, yeah, I
I know.
special
I've seen
research,
your
right?
thing. You're banking
Yeah.
everything. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I have a lot of it, but a lot of it's Stardust at this point, and I'm like so hesitant to claim those Stardust
You
ones
should. You
because I
should.
want to like stack a star piece on top of it,
You
during the
just
Star
stack
Wars
a star
challenge
piece
against
sometime
Caleb.
before the next community day we do. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
That's what I
I think
do. That's what I do when I hashtag 12-kilometer X, whoever. I'm going to
yeah,
drop
yeah,
a
yeah.
star piece. I'll collect like my GBL reward stuff from that too.
Yes,
I
smart.
ain't like you saving like 1,000 research. This is why Speedy beat me in these starters challenges. This I caught on.
It helps.
I caught
Yeah,
on.
it
I also
helps.
got to stop going to Santa Monica. I mean, it's fine, but like the routes is not as like efficient as I would like. Like there's a lot of dead
Mhm.
zones where there aren't that many spawns.
Yeah, definitely.
But
I don't know.
anyway,
If you ever come to Mississippi, I'll show you the route I've been using.
yeah. I mean, okay.
Right? Like what?
Yeah. Can't wait. Can't wait.
Can't wait. Yeah, me either.
MISSISSPPI. That's it, right?
IPPI.
That's what I used to do when I was a kid to memorize Mississippi because we had to spell out the states for some quizzes. Mississippi was always
Dude,
Mississippi and
I
Connecticut
still.
actually, and I was from Connecticut, so I'd be like
Oh yeah, Connecticut's a hard one.
connect, and then I cut. It's like
I cut.
yeah, connect,
Yeah,
I
yeah.
cut is the way to spell
I
it.
still say like Wednesday sometimes.
Really?
Wednesday for Wednesday. Yeah.
Why do you still say? You still say it? What do you mean you still say it? Like it slips
Wednesday.
out?
Yeah, no. Like I sounded like it almost sounds like if you just
Oh,
say
to
it, it
spell
almost
it.
sounds like WENSDAY. Wednesday. Think about it.
Yeah.
Wednesday,
Yeah, the
but
D
it's
is kind of silent.
Wednesday. The D and the N are kind of reversed, right?
Hmm.
You know what I mean?
But
I
so
don't know.
you
It's
still
just a
say
thing.
Wednesday, or you say it to spell it?
No, sometimes when I'm like writing it and I like triple check myself, I'm like, wait, Wednesday. Okay, good.
Oh, okay.
But it's rare. It's not
I
like every
can't.
time. Come on.
I mean, I'm not gonna blame you. One that I mess up a lot is the word guard. Like I always get the
Guard.
U and A like order mixed up a lot.
Okay.
I still get it
Okay.
mixed up. I'm still not sure. It's U before A, right?
U before A. Yeah.
Okay. I don't know why I
Mhm.
must put A before U a lot. Is it U before A?
Yeah.
Oh,
I
yeah,
promise.
It is. Beautiful used to be a one I used to mess up too because it's like three
Yeah.
vowels in a row. I'd be like, I was like, is it the A? Is it the U? Is it the E?
Oh
But
yeah. English
yeah.
is tough, man.
It is. It is. Primary language to
I know.
speak to.
Yeah, I know, right?
Anyway.
I was gonna go somewhere with that, but I forgot. But yeah, Pavilion. Yeah, I
Is
might
it
do some post
Pavilion or
runs.
Vivillon?
Vivillon. Yep, that's what I
Is
said
it
too.
Vivillon? Pavilion?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
I don't know. People were saying different things. I wasn't really sure too. When I was commentating with Gabby this past weekend, we had to promote it for part of the segment, and I wasn't really sure if it's Vivillon Pavilion because I think she was also saying something different.
So there's only two I's, so it's not Vivillon because
Yeah.
Vivilion would indicate ION.
Yeah. So it's Vivillon, right?
Vivillon.
It's
Vivillon.
as phonetically as it sounds. It's not
Yes.
something
The
weird like
first
Garothorn or something like that.
I know. The first vowel is the high point, right? Vivillon instead of Vivillon.
Or
The first vowel.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or Vivillon. Yeah. Anyway, so speaking of, let's just transition here. I was in Texas, in the South.
Yep.
Yeah, Arlington, Texas, pretty close to Dallas, Texas, for the Pokemon Go regionals. Did you catch this?
Dude, I did. I actually watched almost. I think I watched probably like 90 to 95% of the streams.
Okay.
They were great.
Nice. So overall, it was a good time.
What'd
There were
you
some
think?
tough competitors too. It was a stacked field, and so unfortunate. And this is kind of something that us as commentators don't really have control over is how the brackets run through. And
Yes.
my personal opinion, and I think you might agree with me on this one, is that LAIC, Latin America International Championships, and Toronto Regionals, we switched it up. We used to do, when these big tournaments, we'll have an A bracket and B bracket start like 8 in the morning or 9 in the morning or something like that. And then we'll have a C and D bracket, the later two brackets start at like 2 p.m. or 1 p.m., like in that afternoon. And so we would go through the bracket. So you're going to get to the winners finals and losers finals of bracket A and B halfway through the day. And then you go back to like the early battles of C and D.
Yep.
And I feel like it's kind of confusing from a spectator point of view because you're like watching these battles hype up, and all of a sudden you're back to like some earlier matches. Like, wait, what? And and the worst part, in my opinion, is you don't always end up covering the winners and losers finals of the C and D bracket because of the time. Because we can only stream for so long. I mean, the production crew is only staffed for certain amount of time, and we only have the venue for a certain amount of time. So we can't just stream until like until we're done, right? I think the only
9
time we did
PM
that
or
was
whatever.
EUIC, the first one we did, Europe International
Yep.
Championships. I look back on
Exactly.
that VOD, I think it's like over 11 hours. Like we were literally live
really?
for, I think so. Let me just double check it. I think we're literally live for over 11 hours, which is
How
just
did we vamp for that
absolutely
long?
wild. Yeah, yeah, me and you were together, for that one. Yeah. Yeah, let me see if I can find that.
Oh my goodness.
But yeah,
Yeah.
it was very, very long. Yeah. Okay, no, I was mistaken. But it was a total of 10 hours long. Now, I'm not rounding out, 10 hours and 21 seconds long for the first day, which is just wild to me, right? How long that was.
Yeah.
As a comparison, for Last Chance Qualifier in London, where there was like some Wi-Fi issues and stuff, and me and Butters had to talk for like almost like an hour plus, just about nothing, just to like stall. Right. I mean, it's like Wi-Fi issues is like really no one's fault. It's just unfortunate.
It wasn't just the Wi-Fi; it was also Challenge, like a website that
Yeah.
TPCI is not even responsible for. Also, was having issues, so it was like
there's
one thing after
a
another.
host of issues. Even that stream, which also went on so long we couldn't cover the rest of it, was only 9 hours and 33 minutes. So us at EUIC day one, we power through. Like it was, but like I think there's so much adrenaline running that we're like, oh, whatever. But that probably explains why I was like also falling asleep at dinner like every night as well too.
Plus the time changed.
The time change too. The time change, yeah. But that was all over the place. I mean, it was a fun time to kick it off for the first time, but I think typically speaking, we just can't go on for that long. So the downside for those C and D in the afternoons is you actually end up not seeing some of the winners finals, and a lot of times, definitely a lot of the loser finals. And for LAIC in Toronto, and I think King was one of the ones that pushed for this, so shout out to King. But I think some other people were also in favor of this. We went through A, B, C, and D at the same time. Everyone started in the morning, and then everyone wraps up in the afternoon. And so obviously, if you get knocked out earlier, you just end your day a little earlier. You don't have to wait to 2 p.m. to like start and then get knocked out at like 3 p.m. Right? You can just watch or go home early or whatever. But the best part about this is if you watch the LAIC and the Toronto streams, the end of day one was super hype. You have 4 winners finals back to back to back to back. Yes. And then you have 4 losers finals back to back to back to back. You literally have your top 8 for Top Cut day number 2 all lined up, and you pretty much know who's going to make it day 2 right then and there. It's super hype, right? You see all the hype action, right? You see the winners finals double elimination, right? So the person that loses, you're going to see them again literally like, 15 to 20, 30 minutes later facing off to like have a second chance, right?
For the tournament life, yeah.
Exactly, for the tournament life. Yeah. Sorry, my cat just sneezed next to me. I don't know if you hear it. She's been sneezing really loudly. Okay. It sounds like a human these days. I don't know what's going on. Yeah, but
and for a lot of people that don't, maybe I'll just like say this real quick. A lot of people that aren't familiar with the tournament format, like if you've ever done like Sylph or a lot of other player versus player, it's Swiss, which means that everybody launches at the same time, and the broadcast just picks like the best pairs and tells them to wait so they can be on stream. You want to grab like 2 or 3 pairs per round and then like advance through the tournament. Exactly. But with the double elimination, it's broken into pods. So essentially, you have like a pod A, pod B, like you were saying earlier, Caleb, pod C, and pod D. And for some of those players that like come in at 8 a.m. or 9 a.m. or whatever, and then they have to wait until 2 p.m. with no food, no water, nothing to do for all those hours. They have to wait so long to even start battling. Yes. So like the skill level is interesting because to your point, you start off with like, random teams. Maybe there's like an Auroras and a Lowland Raichu, right? In the bottom of the bracket. And then you finish out pods A and B, and you've got like Dunebug, Arrow, Bibelicious, like, rounding out that group. And then you go back after that, you go back to like the spicier picks, like a Suicune or an Entei or something like that.
Yeah.
And it's like all this stuff kind of gets sorted out when we run the brackets concurrently. And like the players have to wait a little bit longer. Like everyone has to wait a little bit longer together, but at least it's not like a whole second and third pod or third and fourth pod, are like suffering throughout the day. And then they have to like play until 7:30 at night, which is what happened here as well.
Yeah. You have to play later. Yeah. So because the players still have to stay around. So they have to stay later. The staff kind of has to stay later, like the judging staff, right? Not the broadcast staff, because I know
Mm.
at London for LAIC, for the Last Chance qualifier, we were like eating dinner and they're still going, right? Like we're like the venue was like closing down, it's like getting dark and they're still battling, right? So
Yeah.
it makes it a long day. But anyway, all that's to say is, unfortunately for this time around in Arlington, they went back to the AB bracket and then CD in the afternoon,
Mhm.
which it is unfortunate because you saw there were a lot of people on day one, especially in the CD bracket, were stacked too. We didn't see a lot of those
Yeah.
battles.
Yeah.
I don't think we saw a single rise to occasion battle. He faced off against Major Bowman and on day one at least, and lost to Major Bowman, and they've met up in the losers finals, and
Mhm.
he ended up beating him, right? So but that was
Mhm.
an intense set back and forth, right? We had Wadaj versus Jangles the second time around, that was not streamed. We had Axon, all of Axon's battles were not streamed. Like
Yeah.
we didn't even see Axon on stream until day two. Like, and it's also, I feel like, a competitive disadvantage for the people that did stream, that were on stream day one, because like depending on the Pokemon, you can't even see the move set that someone like Axon Rise has on their Pokemon, right? A
Yes.
lot of times
Mhm.
the move
Mhm.
sets are pretty predictable, but let's say a Zoomro might be one, right? Are they running Hydro Pump or are they running Play Rough Ice Beam?
Yep.
Are they? I mean, if you have something wild like a Mew, you have no idea what's coming, right? And so
No clue.
it really could vary. Medichamp's a big one, right? What move set?
Mhm.
Like is a Power Punch? Is it, Ice Punch?
Mhm.
Whatever,
Mhm.
Dynamic Punch.
Psycho Cut.
So
I'm just kidding.
Psycho Cut, yes. Dude, let me tell you, Psycho Cut. I thought Psycho Cut could have some utility against some matchups. Psycho Cut's so much worse than counter that I think you have a worse matchup against a Zoomro with Psycho Cut when you're doing neutral Psycho Cut over,
Yikes.
yes, over
Resisted
resisted counters.
counter.
Yeah, it's just not as good of a move. I mean, it's not a terrible move, but counter's just so good.
Yeah.
Anyway, so that's the slightly disappointing part about that regional, but overall, it was a good time. It was stacked, huge, a lot of strong, big names and competitors there. And I think we made predictions as well. Who did you predict will win it all? Did you predict anyone?
I didn't make a prediction this time.
Okay, I said with
Mhm.
Dodge or Kaiser would make it pretty far. Um,
Okay.
but out of the people I knew that were going, but neither of them made it to day two, unfortunately. Kaiser made it to the
Mhm.
winners finals against
He
Arrow and
did.
then lost there and then lost in the loser finals. Unfortunately, he lost his team sheet, so he was penalized 1 point, which is kind of hilarious though when he saw on stream, because he waited so long. There were like a bunch of disputes. He was waiting forever, and he just also had like a huge team comp disadvantage against Bopper there. And
Mhm.
then Arrow. I said Arrow wasn't that great. He made it to top 8 though. So I
He
will say
did.
that. Yeah, he beat he
With
conquered more than just a legendary beast. I will say that.
with Dunsparce, by
With
the way.
Dunsparce, yes, with Dunsparce for sure. Yeah. Yeah. Apparently I thought he plagiarized Inadequate's strategy, but actually it was 22 EJB strategy he plagiarized. So still plagiarized
Oh.
someone there. Yeah. And he did showcase that on stream, which was kind of hype. And then with Dodge, unfortunately, was also knocked out too in like the loser semifinals, I think. So, but
Mhm.
we saw a stacked top 8. I'm thinking off the top of my head, I think it was Doombug, Rise
Yep.
Occasion, Axon, Bopper, Arrow, um,
Chemcoop and
BB-licious, Chemcoop.
Bibalicious.
Yeah, I think I'm missing someone
BDR
else.
2002 as well.
Oh, BDR, yeah, that was kind of an unknown, but I actually really liked his
Mhm.
gameplay as well too. He ran
Mhm.
into some tough team compositions into Rise. He's running double ice. He ran the Shadow Bombstone, dude.
Dude,
The whole time I was thinking, yo, Speed was talking about Shadow Bombstone at Salt Lake City forever. We had 3 Shadow Bombstones make it into the top
3.
8. There were a bunch of
Thank
Shadow
you.
Bombstone in the day one as well. Yeah, Major Bowman, Bopper, and Chemcoop all had the same exact team apparently, and 2 out of 3 of them
Mhm.
made it. And Major Bowman lost in the losers finals against Rise, so almost had another Shadow Bomb Stone. And then on top of that, BDR just brought a Shadow Bomb Stone too, who I don't think team built with them, right? So it was kind of wild.
You're sick. I mean, you got Azumarill, you got Altaria, you got Swampert. You have so
Lantern,
many targets. Lantern
yeah,
as well for
Noctowl,
Abomastage.
yeah, yeah. So
Noctowl's a little bit dicey, right? Because you don't want to take a sky attack. You need 2 weather balls, but like it's
yeah.
playable.
You still want to, you would rather beat the Bomb Stone in that situation, right? So
Oh, for sure, for sure.
yeah, but yeah, I think we saw Bombstone take out Registeel at one point too, and BDR almost took out Registeel. That's pretty close, but
Mhm.
um, I feel like maybe I missed someone. I don't know. Anyway,
No, I
my
think that's
apologies
it.
if I missed someone in the top 8. But there were some really good battles overall, and Doombug was able to take it. in the end, who played really well. I think. I mean, he got knocked down to the losers finals from
Dude.
BB who BB was on fire, and like I knew BB name was pretty familiar, and what I realized is BB what is the back-to-back Continentals champion for EU, so for Europe for Sylph. That is not easy to do, right? So imagine winning Continentals back-to-back years, right? So he definitely knows his stuff. He's from Sweden, and he was in Texas because his wife is from Texas, so he's here for the holidays. So he was
I just
like might as well try out regionals while I'm at it. I think it's first ever regionals as well for Play Pokemon.
Dude, speaking to Dunebug, right? He lost to Bibelicious 1-3, right? So he took one game off of him.
And the one game he won, he double boosted on the Obstagoon. And even then he almost still lost it. So I'm like,
it didn't even
Bibelicious on fire. I'm like, if you beat Dunebug that badly, like this guy knows his stuff, right?
Right. And Dunebug fell to him. Then he faced Rise, which was a rematch of Milwaukee, right?
Yeah,
but even more importantly, of the grand finals Milwaukee last season, even more importantly, though, he went down 0-2 and reverse swept Rise.
Yes.
Right. Which is an insane feat. Rise is one of the best in the world, right? And then he faced Bibelicious again in a rematch in the grand finals and 3-0'd him to reset the bracket.
Yes.
And then he went 3-1 to win it.
Yeah.
I think only dropping game 2, I think.
He dropped game 1, the first game. Yeah, he dropped the first game. I think Bibelicious had some momentum, like, cut off like Dunebug's momentum. But then game 2, Bibelicious accidentally swapped in his Noctowl into Dunebug's Frost Cells locked in instead of his Lantern. He just misswapped. And I think according to Bibelicious on Twitter, like he was just like mentally checked out after that because it was just like, it threw him off a lot. And we've all done that.
You can't do that. You can't do that against Dunebug.
You can't do that against anyone, but especially against Dunebug.
Or Caleb or Arrow. You can't do that. You're gonna lose.
I mean, I totally get it though, because if you swap late into that process with your Lantern, that process can potentially flip it, right? So it's not a comfortable matchup. Lantern typically does win that, but Frostlass is pretty scary with energy. So Frostlass definitely being Dunebug's MVP, but also running that Obscure Registeel core, which he ran in Milwaukee and Rise as well too. But yeah, so very impressive battles. I mean, from everyone across the board, but especially Bibelicious and Dunebug, and honestly Rise as well. I think Rise was pretty much undefeated in day 2, leading up to that losers finals. He was 2-0 going into it. He like didn't lose a single battle, and then dude started picking up steam too. So it was good. I mean, Dunebug. I mean, you got to think about his legacy here for season 2 of the championship series from Play Pokemon. The only other regional I know for sure he attended was Baltimore. He didn't attend any other ones, right?
I don't think so.
I think so. And in Baltimore, he went all the way to the losers finals as well. And he ended up losing to Elam after being up 2, and he got reverse swept by Elam, right? So he was telling me, he's like, yeah, it's like, it's good to be on the other side of things, especially because, because he didn't want to lose in winners finals again. But that's pretty impressive to make it all the way to the losers finals and get 3rd place in Baltimore, and then just win 1st place here, right? Like consistency is very, very important here. Yeah, like good players are going to have that consistency no matter what. And this tournament was stacked.
I was gonna say, how does this compare to like the other regionals that we've done? How'd you feel about this one?
I mean, I think the skill level was pretty up there. It was weird. So day 2, almost every single battle up to the winners finals between Dune and Bibelicious. So every battle that was out of best out of 3, right? Up to 3. Best out of 5s are different. Every battle up to best out of 3 was a 2-0, except for one, which was Bopper versus Axon, I think. Yeah. So, but every other battle was just straight up 2-0s, which is really weird because they're all very talented battlers, but I think they were just short. They just made quick work of their opponents, I guess, or had the alignment or whatever. So if it was like the skill level is super high, but the results made it seem like it wasn't that close. And sometimes some of those 2-0s weren't very close, but sometimes people just had bad team comps. I think Arrow got 2-0'd by Bibelicious because Arrow didn't really have an answer to Lantern. His best answer was he didn't really have one because I don't think he had a Glen Stumpus. Yeah, Dunsparce was his best answer, which is like he was pigeonholed to using Dunsparce every time.
Yeah. His team was weak to G-Fisk as well. He had like Alt,
Yes.
Noctowl, Reggie, and Frostlass. Like
Yeah.
4
Yeah.
Pokemon that lose to Stunfisk.
BBlicious had G-Fist as well, I think. So G-Fist and the Lantern. So it was a tough time. Yeah,
It's tough.
BBlicious is very good. So
Mhm.
but yeah, so sometimes they were pretty one-sided because of team composition. But the teams were all over the place too, which was nice. I expected way more Umbreon and way
Me
more
too.
like Obstagoon. Not really. There were some Obstagoon for sure. I mean, we had 2 that made it into the top 3, but there was a ton of Altaria, which
Mhm.
is just weird because you're thinking like Wing Attack got buffed. So you're going to think there's going to be even more knocked out. But instead, there was actually a bunch of Altaria and a lot of double flyer team too. And
Yes.
let me just say this. You know what loves a good Altaria, right?
Probopass.
Yeah, Propass is yeah, I mean if you're running rock throw, there's some chance here. All right. I won't share this with people listening, but I'm just gonna send Speediest Chief a screenshot of the team I'm planning on bringing to San Diego. I just want to hear
Oh.
your reaction without giving away the team, right? I trust your discretion here. I
Okay.
just
I
DM'd it
won't
to
say
you on
anything.
Discord. Tell me what you
No
think.
shot. What? Dude.
Pretty good, right? Think about it.
No, dude.
It's different, right?
There's
Look,
so
I
much
might
I
just
don't
go
like about
0-2,
this.
but I really want to make it on the stream just so I could do something cool with this, right? Because everyone's gonna be like, "What the heck is that?" Right?
Dude.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know that I love it, but honestly, if people, I think back to I won't give anything away, but I think back
Yeah.
to Toshi. I forget which Sylph Cup it was. I think it was season 1.
Uh huh.
Maybe it was season 2, where essentially like he brought like 5 water types in one grass or
Hmm.
one fire, and he kept on anticipating like his opponent would lead grass into him, so he just let his fire every single
Yeah.
game, and he caught the lead every single game. That's what this makes me think of, right? When you have that
Wow.
shared weakness.
Yeah. There's some weaknesses here for sure, but
Yeah.
it'd be pretty hype though to see, right?
It'd
I
be pretty
mean,
fun.
think
It'd be
about
pretty
it.
fun.
Think about things are in the meta. It's let's just say this way: you ain't going to bring Frostlass into this team.
Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
yeah,
Frostlass staying on the bench.
yeah. That first Pokemon, I don't think he realizes, but that also beats Frostlass if you have shields.
Does it?
Yeah, it does. Yeah, pretty consistent. Yeah, no, even shields. Yeah,
Interesting. I guess the
yeah,
pacing is similar, right?
hmm yeah. I
I know a
mean,
lot of people listening are
they're
and
like, what?
watching are
They're
like
like,
super frustrated. Like, what could it
yeah.
be?
No, yeah. There's
I'll
there's
tell
one
you.
Pokemon here. It's not Bastion, right? There's one Pokemon
No,
here that I think people are not going to expect. Throw
no.
your prediction down below in the YouTube comments. I won't confirm or deny, but I am curious what people think it is.
We've seen it in one other regional, and it was last season.
Oh yeah,
I
oh,
remember
you
we
saw
saw it
one.
one
Yeah.
time.
Well, it didn't
I
do
won't
that
say
well.
which
I
which
think.
regional. No,
Yeah.
it didn't. Um,
Which
but
looking
it
back
kept
on
on.
it might be tough to use, but I kind of want to try it.
Yeah, I'm trying to remember. Oh, I think I remember. I think here I'll just tell you.
I remember seeing it in London as well. I saw it in
Really?
London. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, um, but
Yeah.
oh,
Yeah.
yeah, I just saw your comment. Yeah, yeah, they
Yeah.
probably they
Yeah.
probably did not beat that or win that one. It makes sense.
No, they did not.
But I mean, think about things that are popping in the meta these days, man. It could be
Yeah. Yeah.
good. It walls off certain things. So the walls. I'll type this out. We're really talking in mystery here.
We're really milking this. I'm sorry,
Completely
everybody.
walls that out.
Oh yes, 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 yes. That's a typing. Yeah, I don't want to give away any more hints, but like we were surprised that a certain Pokemon was dominating the skies in Arlington, and
Uh-huh.
that typing is just really really strong against
Mhm.
a lot of others.
Yeah. Anyway, I mean, people can do what they want, right? We'll see how it goes. San Diego is going to be stacked too, so I know Rise is going
Yes.
there. Dodge will be there. Bunch of people. I'll be there. No, I'm just kidding. But
I'll be
yeah,
there. There it is.
yeah. But anyway, big congrats to Doombug and Arlington. That was pretty
Yes.
huge. I will say some juicy stuff happened, during the tournament, but we will cover that in the T segment. We'll cover that T
Yeah,
segment because there's some
that's
tea to
coming.
cover. There's some tea to cover. Outside of that, let's cue another graphic here. We got
Let's do it.
ourselves the new community day for January, and it is
Yes.
going to be Chespin. How you feeling about this one?
I think it'll be good, right? It feels like an upgrade for Chespin. I
Mhm.
think it's a tough time in the meta, and actually, one of my friends from the stream chat was talking in my Discord about it. This feels very similar to Jumpluff getting acrobatics at the same time that Walrein was really rising up, because
Mm.
we have a grass fighting type Pokemon getting an upgrade when Wing Attack just got buffed. It feels
Yep.
like there's not a whole lot of room for this Pokemon to succeed, you know?
And yeah, that's true. Yeah. I think a lot of people are saying that it's kind of like a cheaper Virizion version, cheaper
Okay.
Virizion option for Master League, but
Mhm.
at most I think it'll probably be used for factions. I don't think it'll be super huge for anything else besides that. Um, but yeah, so that's going to be on January 7th, which is a Saturday, 2 p.m. to 5 p.m. local time. And here's the thing. It's during regionals yet again. It is during
Yet
the San
again.
Diego regionals, and it's on day 1 too, which is a longer day. If it's on day 2, like you usually have time to go out and still play, right? It's on day 1, so we'll all be kind of just stuck in the venue for those going, unless you just get knocked out really early and want to just head out. So
Yeah.
I think the solace I have here is, you know what? If I go to San Diego, I do poorly. I do O2. I'll just sit in the venue and catch Chespin all day, right? That'll be
Yeah, it's
I'll
fair.
just grief and catch some Chespin. Um, but if I make it further, then whatever. I guess I'll keep playing and not have a Chespin. So,
Mhm,
good thing to
mhm.
have stuff to evolve. Luckily, the bonus is not super amazing. It's 1/2 hatch distance, which is fine. But
Yeah,
it's not like triple Stardust because that would have been brutal. Um,
dude, that would suck.
but yeah, but shiny Chespin also looks like a burnt like grass, whatever, like burnt leaves.
Yeah,
But
it's a roasted chestnut. Come on.
yeah, that's true. Oh, I like that. I like that. Roasted chestnuts.
There it is. That's very punny.
Yeah, I hate puns, but it'd be like that sometimes. Yeah,
Dude, it do be like that. No, it
yeah,
actually is like a pretty cool looking shiny. It's definitely distinctive. It's not like what was that? There's one shiny that's like so there's more than one, but there are a few shinies that are like the regular form is green and then the shiny's like a 2% darker green. It's like,
yeah.
come on.
Or Minun, or is it
Yes.
Plusso? Which one of them? No, I think it's the
Mine's
red one.
blue, plus was red.
Okay, it's Plusso. Yeah, that's one where like
Plus,
you can
yeah,
barely tell the
it
difference.
goes from like red to like slightly maroon
Yeah,
almost. It's like
Glaceon's another one. I think
it's another one.
DeFi got a shiny Glaceon at Arlington, if I'm not
Oh, very
mistaken.
nice.
And she was
Yeah.
like our co-caster DeFi, and she was like, "Wait, I didn't even realize it was shiny until I saw like the icon, right? Because like it's like you can
Yeah,
barely tell the difference."
exactly.
But yeah, so there's that. Either way, I mean, Frenzy Plant is definitely going to be an upgrade, so it's still nice to
Mhm,
have. I don't know if it's going to be super meta breaking, but
mhm.
it's nice to finally get the starters back in rotation because there's some good ones coming up, like
Yeah.
Primarina, Primarina, Primarina. I don't know, one of the two. But
Pre-Marina, right?
Primarina.
I
But
think.
anyway, shout out to Galix again for the
Yes.
graphic. Appreciate it. It always looks good. Outside that, yeah, I mean, we'll see. It is going to be, but I know most people won't be at the San Diego Regional, so you'll be able
Mhm.
to just play and have fun during that time.
Yeah,
All right. That being said, we got ourselves. We're still in GBL season 13.
it's true.
You have a bet idea? We'll talk more about the previous bet, but we have a bet idea.
Still none. Still nothing yet.
Okay.
Hmm.
All right. Nothing.
No,
I think the highest leaderboard
nothing yet.
placement is not a bad idea. No,
Yeah, it's pretty fun because it's like a competition between us.
it's ongoing. Yeah,
It's ongoing.
less pressure. It's
Are you?
really
Oh,
just
let me
fun.
ask you this. Let me
Yeah.
ask you this. Are you feeling like playing like try hard this season? Is that the mood you're in,
Um.
or you want to
I
like
mean,
play
I'm
spicy, fun
trying
stuff,
hard.
make
I'm just not
content?
doing well, I guess. But I'm trying hard. Yeah. I mean, I do okay, I guess. But
Mhm.
I don't play all my sets. I will say that I played a total of
Yeah,
two
same.
days worth of Ultra League. So,
Yeah,
but I mean, partially so travels and stuff too. But
yeah.
I mean, are you telling me
I
you're not up for the challenge, Speediest Chief?
No, I'm not saying that. I'm just saying like as a content creator, I always wonder because you've been able to like play like weird off kilter stuff and still climb, but at the
Yeah.
same time, like people like myself and two butters, we might play like really wacky stuff and like not really try too hard. Just try to
Oh,
make
you're throwing
something
Two
work.
of Butters under the bus too, huh? I
Dude,
like how you were like
I mean,
Two of
is it
Butters.
false?
Look, I mean, I roast Butters all the time, so it's
I
I don't
know.
mind it, but I don't know if he'd appreciate your tone there, but he's running some
Yeah.
Quagsire, Shadow Dragonite, and he's like Umbreon or something. Line
Dragon
Great League.
Sire.
Dragon Sire. He kept saying that. I was like, Dragon Sire. What about Ampharos? Let me talking about Ampharos. Yo, I said it too. Arlington Regionals. No one's winning it with Ampharos, and that's exactly what happened. So, but yeah,
You did. So
it,
when is that bet up? That bet is up on March 1st.
March 1st. March 1st. I changed my Bastion if someone wins a regionals or international.
I watched
we haven't seen one in the top 8.
That's true. Or I haven't seen one at all registered.
Yeah, I haven't seen one either. Yeah, I think so. A lot of people keep tagging me on Twitter, like, I'm getting ready for it. I'm like, all right, let's see it. Like, I'm like, you can tag me all you want. Like, it hasn't happened yet, you know.
I saw For the Battles sweep a whole team with Thunder Punch, Brutal Swing, Ampharos.
In GBL, I think it's possible. I lost to one last night against Asian Milkman running Ampharos. So he technically led it into my Pidgeot, so I couldn't really do much because I was hard counter throughout.
Tough.
Yeah, it was my Pidgeot into his Shadow Ampharos, my Cobalion into his Trevenant, and then my Registeel into his Scrafty. What are you supposed to do there? I actually almost went one switch, but I went for the bait and he didn't shield. Like if he just lost switch there, I think he just. I don't even think he loses. He up a shield. Ampharos could have some play into Registeel. So I kind of misplayed there, but I think it was a tough matchup for me either way. But I mean, like people can tag me all they want. I don't care what you do with Ampharos and GBL. Like, sure, you could do it. Like, you could beat it. You could beat Rocket Grunts with it. You could use it in raids. But unless you're winning a regional or international with it in the next few months, I don't care. It's like people that tag me whenever they beat a Bastion. Who cares? Did you beat my Bastion? Even if you do, okay, it happens, right? I ain't fussed about it, right? And a lot of times they're tagging me like, "Oh, I beat a Bastion while Swampert." I'm like, "So what?" Like, if you beat it with the Altaria, that's a different story, right? Like, you want me tagging everyone whenever they use it? Whenever I beat a G-Fist, like, "Yo, I just beat a G-Fist." Like, what you gonna do? Right?
Start doing that.
I don't really mind it, but I just think it's funny that people would go for it.
It is.
I'm like, I don't.
It's
care.
like ironic.
Yeah, you can beat all the Bastion you want. Did you beat my Bastion? Maybe I care more if that's the case.
Dude, as they say in Twitch chats, man, driver, not car.
That's true.
Right?
Yeah. Wait till you see what I'm driving though in San Diego.
Yeah, I gotta see this car pull up. Oh,
yeah. You're like, who's that? Okay, well, I guess you're still. I don't know. We're still deciding on the bet. We can't wait too long now.
We'll have something decided by the new year for sure.
Okay, by New Year, I like that. All right, we'll have because we'll still have 3 months to go. Wait, no, 2 months. We'll have 2 months by New Year.
Yeah, January, February.
Ends on.
We have one more recording as well. I think we should do like some kind of holiday theme style episode, but we can talk about this like after.
I'm ready. I'm ready. Yeah. Well, so by the next time we record, it will be after. It'll be after Christmas, but we can still do a holiday thing, and not everyone celebrates Christmas. Right?
Oh yeah,
we do a holiday thing. I'd be down for it. Maybe I'll pull up my cat holiday thing. Maybe I'll buy some, stuff. We'll decorate the stuff. Yeah, it'll be good. It'll be good. We could come up with some ideas for that. But yeah, we should. Speaking of the holiday thing too, well, there's 2 things. One, I still see a beard. What's going on here?
I know. There it is.
I did a whole beard tier list last week too, and I actually have a question because I don't think we really got to answer. We just talked about it right on the tier list. You don't like the soul patch thing? You're like one of the few people I know that just shaves it like consistently. Does it like not grow or something? Or
so what? I show visually here for everybody watching on YouTube. Yeah, but like right under the lip, it grows, but only like a quarter-sized area, like here, right? So I would have like this big like U-shaped gap.
But that's how it is, right? That's the whole soul patch thing, right?
I don't know. Full? It's kind of I would like for it to be full, but it just doesn't grow here. Yeah. But otherwise, it's like a soul patch that like kind of goes down.
Yeah,
I don't know. I don't know.
I don't know. To be fair, I don't know what it looks like, so maybe it looks. Have you tried it?
I have tried it, and I grew it out for a little while, and it's just like longer than everything else. It looks kind of funny.
I feel like you look like a villain more.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's more like
Maybe that
like
should be the
I should
bet.
be
Maybe that should be
I
a
should
bet.
be
You
like
have to keep the soul
sipping.
patch.
It looks more like I should be like sipping wine and like petting a cat, like
Hey,
a
that's
villain
ain't
wearing a
nothing wrong with
suit or
that.
something.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm saying.
Well, I mean, I did a tier list last week, and I put Speedy Chief in the Golurk tier because he shouldn't have a beard. Golurk tier is the F tier, by the way, for those that don't know. It's the worst
It's
tier.
true.
Even I had a higher
I
tier. What
I
did you
do
think, by the
appreciate.
way? Because I
I thought your
posted.
beard list was good.
No. What do you
Yes.
think about my specific picture? Because I didn't put myself
Uh,
in the F tier because I actually went through a phase where I didn't shave, and it was a little rough. But
yeah. No, I was gonna say I did appreciate that you made a point of this too. You're like, look, I'm not gonna roast everybody. Like you talked about a lot of other streamers with beards, like Fraggin or Nick, and you were like, you talked about me as well. You're like, I gotta like put myself out there as well. And you showed a picture of your beard, the longest it got, and you like, reviewed it for a solid like few minutes. I was like, okay,
yeah,
if he throws it up and pulls it down, it's not really like equivalent, but you left it up there. You
I
let
left it
people
up
look
there.
at it. We all
I
had like a
found the
little laugh
YouTube
about it.
video,
You
dude.
found the video of when it was the longest as well, which is
Yeah,
really good. Like
people were not
you're
a fan of
fair,
it
you're
on
fair about
YouTube.
the critique. Yeah.
Yeah,
I
it was
felt like
pretty
I
good.
felt like there was a positive reception to me with no beard as well. I felt like chat was like, all right, follow through in the bed. It's not that bad. Right. Which I
I've
appreciated.
been saying that. I've
People
been
on my
saying
back.
that. I will say too, I didn't really fully appreciate Wholesome's beard until I did this tier list. I was like, he's actually got a pretty good tier. And the thing is, like, his is such a core of his identity as well. Like
Mhm.
you as well, but I think your beard is like a little bit longer, more like defined, right? His is just like a standard groomed beard. But like, yeah, I mean that's like a part of his identity. I can't
Wholesome's
imagine him without it, you know?
right. And Wholesome's
Mhm.
beard shaping is actually really, really good. If you see
Yeah.
him like at the next regional, look at the neckline
Yeah.
and
It's
how
very
he
good.
trims it up and shapes it. It's
Mhm.
actually very, very
He
nice.
had a beard brush when we're
Yeah.
doing. You know how we have like the couch segment or like their like
Well,
seat
it's
segment in the
because you
back. He
and
he pulled out the brush ahead of time. He was like brushing down. He was like
I'll
getting
just
ready.
I'll explain this right because
Yeah,
for you, Caleb, anyone else at
I
home,
definitely didn't use no
when
beard brush.
you put a mask on, especially the K95s, they
Mhm.
like groove into your beard and push it down, so you get like this ridge, this like scoop in your
Mhm.
beard, and the beard brush like helps you to comb that out. So for people like
Mm.
myself and Wholesome, like that's actually really really nice because you put the mask on, it gets all messed up. Makes sense to
Well,
me.
the good news for you is that's a problem you won't have to worry about once you shave your beard.
Yeah. Yeah, I have something planned. I haven't told you yet. And I know I keep saying I have something planned, but like the holidays
Yeah,
have
I
been
was like, the
they've
thing I
been
planned last week is not hasn't happened yet. So
they've been pretty hectic for me. I'm also getting some pressure from my fiance to not shave. And I do have some holiday plans with her. So it's like,
Mm.
you know,
So
might
when
need to get
you
one step at a time.
one step at a time. I'm just saying, if you postpone it too much, you might not have a beard for the wedding, right? The sooner you shave it, the sooner you have the beard back for the wedding, right? I
It's
don't know if you
true.
have that
And
wedding date planned or not, but it's you
the
can
profile
procrastinate for quite a
pic,
while.
the
The profile pic is
the
getting
pro,
long too. It's probably for
it's
2
gonna be
months
like
soon.
it's like 2 months.
It's almost 2 months.
Exactly.
It's almost two
Yeah.
months.
Oh my God. Yeah.
Uh, anyway, so all right, we'll see the beard update, but we got some tea for you all too,
Yep.
and it's a 2 segment tea. I will say that. Um, let's say the first one too, and I'm gonna pull it up.
Sure.
I don't know if I want to put it on the screen because I don't know if it's family friendly. Let me just double check to make sure.
You might to like blur it.
Yeah, this is fine. This is fine. Yeah, this is fine. There's no swears in here. So I'll throw it up on the screen right about now so that you
Okay.
can see it. But we got our last episode. We talked about kind of like instead of chess boxing. For those that don't know, you play chess and you box as well in between rounds. First one to get checkmate or get knocked out wins, right? So it's kind of a mixture
Mhm.
of like brains and brawn. Well, someone's like, "Oh, we should do Pokemon Go boxing, right?" So you battle maybe like first to win like 5 games or first get knocked out, right? In boxing wins.
Mm.
And so we're just like, "Oh, who we challenge stuff like that too?" And I was like, "Speedy, like who would you challenge?"
Mhm.
Speedy said he would challenge Ferrikster, right?
Mhm.
And looks like Ferrikster listened to the podcast, so shout
No,
out,
it's
shout out,
awesome.
a fellow listener. It looks like a fellow listener on Spotify too, but or no, actually no, that might be Apple Music. Anyway, or Apple Podcast. But anyway, so he tweeted, and I got tagged in this too, so I'm glad because I got to see it. But this is the tweet we see on screen here. Speediest Chief says he wants to box me on the latest Battle Catz podcast with Caleb Peng. Speedy, I would crush you. You're so soft, you have no actual beef with anyone. And all the things to call me out on, you call me out on sleeping in on the weekends, bruh. I work.
Bruh, you have to read it in all caps the way he says it. Bruh.
But you think he would actually say it like that? I'm trying to read it in his voice too. I mean, I'm
No,
not really
he'd be like, bruh.
Oh no. Well, this is definitely happening now. And then I said, and then he said, I work 12-hour days all week and stream. I'm effing tired. Yeah, some other stuff, right?
Mother
This
effer.
maybe I'll blur out some of the stuff.
That's all you gotta do.
Also, top of the morning to you, good sir. I am tweeting this at 10 a.m. on a Saturday.
Yeah.
So, I mean, of course, me, right? So I responded. I was like, well,
Of course
so
you did.
This is happening or what? Like, seems like there's mutual interest on both ends. And he said, I'm ready to go whenever he is, as long as the match isn't before 2 p.m. Maybe 3 p.m. to be super safe. Yeah, that's not too bad.
Yeah.
If he just woke up from a nap, he might be a little tired, right? I don't know. Might be
Yeah,
working
yeah,
advantage. But or he's also well rested too. And he said Hartford regionals ? Dude, I'll be at Hartford regionals because my mom lives in Connecticut, so I'm gonna go whether I'm commentating or not. We don't actually know. So, but if you're going, and I talked to Kaiser too because he's like, hey man, I'll help make it happen, right? The Connecticut native, he knows some local
Kaiser
boxing
would.
gyms, right? So
Yeah.
But
I mean,
what's your response?
All right. So it's funny to me. The first thing I'll say, it's funny to me because,
and before you say anything too, you got to know if Ferrikster's probably listening to this part too. If he listened to the first part,
I'm sure he is. Yo,
ahead.
What's up, Ferrikster? I see your comments on Twitter. I didn't like or acknowledge them, and I was gonna lead in with this and be like, "Who?" But no, Caleb didn't open me up for an opportunity like that. But the funny thing is, as much as you and I, probably don't want to hear this, we are becoming more like public figures over time. Mm-hmm. And our personas are very public. So if this were to happen, this would be a very Fight Club-esque type thing. No phones allowed, no cameras. It would just be in a basement somewhere, and we would just never talk about it. We just go home with bruises and cuts and stuff, right?
Essentially, who's gonna have more bruises and cuts is a real question.
Okay, so let's break this response down, right? Let's break this down.
Let's break it down.
All right. So first of all, he begins the tweet by tagging me, right? Which Twitter laws, right? This actually really hurts your SEO on how a tweet actually works. And it's not the most efficient way to do it. You have to type an actual word, because if you open up with the tag, it's not very efficient. And
That's why I think only followers periods beforehand.
Exactly. Okay, so he tags me in it, right? Tags
likes
you as well.
23 likes. Yeah. Queen Carla liked it too.
I was looking through who liked it as well, because it's also interesting to me. We can review that. So anyways, he tags both of us. And okay, so the concept I had in mind was just boxing, right? If you have some feelings you want to get out, you got some anger, right? Some frustration, just getting a couple hits in is probably a lot. That's all most people need, right? Just a couple smacks, right? Oh yeah, that's really, it kind of assuages that emotion that I was feeling. But he opens up and he says, Speedy, I would crush you. I'm like, okay, that insinuates I'm on the floor, knocked out. The ref is counting down. It's over, right?
Yeah.
He said, you are so soft. You have no actual beef with anyone. And of all the things to call me out on, you call me out for sleeping in on the weekends. Bruh. Right?
No, do it the way you thought he would say it.
Bruh. But he says I'm so soft, right? And I think this is another thing as well. A lot of people mistake kindness for weakness, and that's definitely not the case here, right? I have no actual beef with anyone. Yeah, that's actually by design. That's on purpose. I have thoughts and opinions about a lot of things, right? But anyone who, again, is trying to make a career out of this kind of thing, I don't say everything I think, right? True. But I actually have good opinions on a lot of things. And of all the things call me out on, you call me out for sleeping on the weekends. Yeah, I mean, I could call you out for all the problematic tweets you make, all the pot stirring that you do on Twitter and stuff. But I know that's what you actually like. That's the source of your attention, right? He's kind of like another person I know, Caleb. He likes to kind of stir the pot, get people talking, get people frustrated. What?
I mean,
Hey, your words,
I
not
did go
mine.
back and forth on Twitter with PanicK earlier too. I guess we
That's
should cover
true.
that as well. But
That's true. That's true. But the thing is, when you want to hit somebody, right? And that's why I got this response. When you want to like reach out and touch somebody, you don't talk about the things that they enjoy doing because they're like, oh yeah, that was actually what I enjoy. But
Mhm.
sleeping in on the weekends, that is sacred time for Ferrikster. That is sacred time. It's sleep in, have some brunch and some mimosas, and go about your day in a relaxed manner. Where he cares about that a lot. That's why I made that point because I knew it'd get under his skin. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, it definitely did
I
get
work
under his
12.
skin.
I know, right? Look at this response, all caps. I mean, this is like, you say something and then the other person starts screaming. You really
Yeah.
touched a nerve here. I work 12-hour days all week and stream. I'm tired. All right. I get that. It sounds like a you problem, man. And the good part is, right? The good part is that honestly, Ferrikster and I haven't DM'd. This is all in the public, right? We haven't
Uh-huh.
had any backdoor conversations or anything. So again, we're like putting this all out there. It's all in good fun. He says top of the morning to you, good sir, which means he has like a sense of humor, which I really do
Mhm.
appreciate about Ferrikster here. He says, I'm tweeting this at 10 a.m. on a Saturday. I actually like Ferrikster more after this tweet exchange because it
Oh,
shows that he
okay.
has like a sense of humor, some humility. He's pretty fun. I actually like
Yeah.
him more after this. But yeah, if we're gonna box, it's still gonna happen, right? And as well in the comment, he says, "I'm ready to go whenever he is, as long as the match isn't before 2 p.m., maybe 3 to be safe." Again, that's like a funny comment. That's like playing to what I said, right? If he was really mad, if he was legitimately angry, he'd be like, "Tell me your address," right? Or like, "We can go anytime. As soon as I see you on site, I'm swinging on site." He could say that, but he actually has a good sense of humor about it, so I think it's pretty funny.
So you got 4 months to prep, right? This is what I'm hearing, right? 4 months to prep. I mean, 2 p.m., 3 p.m. That's perfect, right? If we're doing a typical regional stream, day one, longer day, right? Day two typically ends around like 1 p.m. or so, maybe before then, maybe
Mm-hmm,
2 p.m. at the latest. Perfect time to go back, change, get ready. Whatever black eye that you may incur, it won't be on stream the next day. It's perfect.
Why can I just envision like you and Butters standing on the edge of like the ring, like throwing down money, like yeah, hit him, like throwing down $10, betting.
Like I got my money on this person.
Why can I just imagine
I
that?
don't. Yeah, I don't know how it's gonna. I mean, Vexter does like to talk too, but I mean, a lot of people in the community do. Whether they throw down in real life or not is a different story. There's some people I
That's
wouldn't
true.
want to throw down with, right? Like,
No,
I don't know. Actually, I can't think of any. I'm just kidding.
no.
Like those Dragon
Actually,
Balls are
I
pretty
do
big
have
deals,
one.
right? Yeah,
Those Dragon Balls
I
is
would not
huge.
mess with
I
it.
do have
Yeah.
I do have one in mind as well. And this is actually from 2019. But there was a lot of nonsense going around on Twitter from Quinby back before the
He was at
Orlando
Arlington.
regional.
He was at Arlington.
He was at Arlington as well. Yeah. But
Oh,
I met
funny.
Quinby
Yeah.
in Orlando, and he
Uh-huh.
is not a person I'd want to fight either, to
Really?
be honest.
I met
No,
him too.
not,
Wait, why?
not the Quinby I remember.
Is he big?
He was way bigger than I thought. Yeah.
Oh, no, he was pretty like petite.
Really?
Yeah.
He must have slimmed down because the Quinby I met in Orlando
He's jacked?
2019, he was jacked. Yeah.
Oh, I don't know. Unless he was wearing like a
I
really
was
loose shirt or something. He was pretty petite.
no, I was surprised when I met
Oh,
Quinby. I was like,
I don't.
man,
I mean, nothing
like
wrong
he's
with. I don't have any beef with him, but yeah,
no, me
he's
either.
pretty. He's like smaller than me. Yeah.
No, we met a different person.
I literally met him this past weekend. He
No, we
said I'm
met a
Quimby.
different person.
Well,
No, the
this is
Quinby I met was
Quimby.
very different.
I don't know. He was at Arlington Regional. I will say this, right? He was knocked out before he didn't make it on a stream, of course, but he was knocked out, and he actually got kicked out the venue.
For what? Or can you say?
I can say, I mean, because it's against the rules, so no one else should do this, right? But he was apparently drinking on the premise. He was escorted off. Yeah, I know.
He's trying to have a good time.
I mean, yeah. But anyway, so he was escorted off. So anyway, anyone going to a future regional, don't bring in a flask or alcohol, right? You're not.
Yeah, please don't.
I think. I'm pretty sure it's against the rules. At least it was in Arlington, but I'm pretty sure it's against the rules. So, yeah, no, Quimby was not that. I mean, I don't know. I could be misremembering, but I met him and he wasn't that big. But
I think you're misremembering.
I literally
But
just saw him
anyways,
like a few days ago.
yeah, I don't know. Maybe I'm misremembering. I don't know.
I don't know. I guess I could ask Kaiser. Kaiser stayed with Quimby this past weekend too. So,
True.
um, but
What I haven't seen on Twitter though, Caleb, we talked about me and Ferrikster, right? You called out Ryan Swag. I have not seen a big post from Ryan Swag with timestamps of the
Yeah,
podcast. What's
I
going
don't
on?
actually really want to box Ryan Swag. You know, I think
What?
we just
But you
disagree
said
on.
it.
I mean, I have another contender. I guess I could right these days.
Okay.
Might make it to Hartford as well too, because I know they're in that
Oh,
northeast area. I
okay.
don't actually really want to box anyone, right? But I think it is. I think it would be some interesting content that we cannot actually advertise because it's boxing and Pokemon just doesn't mix. I think like unless you're Machamp, right? But like we're not like anyone listening, like we're
Hitmonchan.
not really serious,
No, this is all a joke.
but if it happens,
Oh, come on. It's not going to happen.
I won't say anything else. But anyway, so this was something else. It wasn't actually in our T segment, but I must well throw it in there because why just throw Speedy as chief in the hot seat without putting myself here? So this was last week. It was actually PanicK 23, also known as Nick or just PanicK for short. Or I guess
Yeah.
PanicK for long, but PanicK is what he goes by. He's like going live for some GBL, then factions recap of our bout first, the Body Slammers. And I'll throw this graphic in here so people can see what I'm referencing to here. So I'll make a quick timestamp reference here. But my first comment was because he took a screenshot of his factions like layout, right? The recap he was going to do, and it's against Body Slammers. They beat him everything, and he was going to do a recap on it. And my comment was this layout. I'll share the tweet to you too, Speedy, so that way you can have easy access. My comment was this layout looks like a car from NASCAR because it's got like 8 logos on it. No, it's got it's got 9 logos. It's got Body Slammer and Final Boss, which is the 2. No, it's actually got 10 logos if you count the Sylph factions logo too. But it's got the Sylph logo, right? The diamond, the Emerald tier logo, Body Slammer and Final Boss. Makes sense, right? You're playing a Sylph match between 2 teams. You're gonna have the logo. You have PanicK's logo, personal logo on there. Makes sense. It's PanicK's logo. And then you have 6 other logo. I don't actually even know all of them. I know P-Poke's on there, Getting Your Ball, Team Unified, Pokemon Go Raiders, stuff like that. I think Thunderdome or something.
Flash for everyone as well, I think.
Yeah. So, and then 6 additional logos, which I guess in some way, shape, or form sponsor PanicK or Final Boss or both.
Yes.
And because I know those same logos, I think, are on their team jerseys.
Correct.
I mean, I get it. Like you gonna hustle, like you get your jersey paid for, get a little sponsorship money for your team. Like I ain't hating on it, but it does look like a car from NASCAR. Like it's got a bunch of logos on there. Like that's it, right? I thought it was kind of funny, and so did the 22 people that liked it. I ratioed his original tweet, right? I mean, it is what it is. And he comes back and said, stream your recaps, Caleb, as in like the cool cats, my team's recaps. Would love to see your layout, especially your matchup versus Stadium, right? Stadium Elite. And I will say, for those that don't know, we lost pretty badly to Stadium Elite the first week. I think the final score was 4-17. I think 4-17.
That's tough.
That's tough, right? Let me put it this way: I scored half of our team's points out of 7 people, so it was a rough time. Yeah, like we got swept in multiple matchups, and I think 2 of our matchups went 1 and 2. But I'm not mad at my teammates for like it was a tough matchup. It was the first week too. I'm not making excuses. We just got beat. We got outplayed in many of the matchups or out teamed. It happens. But I'm just like, whoa. I was like, my man's really digging hard here into my team. I was like, look, I wasn't even making fun of your team or anything. I just think it's a funny thing that you have all these like logos and stuff, right? He even has this mouse hovering over it, so it says projector output on one of the screenshots. Like, come on now. I didn't even say that, but I was like, all right. And I was thinking, you know what? I could be like, man, Peng, that's kind of a low blow, right? Like, you can make fun of me all you want. Like, you're going to lose my teammates in this just because I made out. Like, he doesn't actually want to see my recap. He doesn't actually want to see my layout, right? But I was like, you know what? I got something for you, PanicK, right? Look, I'm kind of like you, Speedy, right? I'm not one to get involved in drama and stuff because half the time I don't really think it's that serious or I just don't care.
It's not worth it.
But let's not mistaken me as a nice guy here, right? I'm probably as toxic as it gets. People just don't know.
I say the knife came out here. I did not see this one coming.
Yeah, and then so I responded and I said, "No stream, but It'll be on YouTube in a few weeks, which is true. We are going to do our recap. And I told my teammates, I was like, I don't even care if we lost this badly. We're going to recap it, right? So we're going to recap every battle this cycle. And I said, the last time someone offered me a business deal to me, it didn't end well for the sponsoring org. So color me suspicious in reference to, him getting sponsored by all this stuff. And I screenshotted a DM from PanicK himself. This is back when the whole Pogo Cosmos scam was big. For those that don't know, this was a couple months ago, probably around June, maybe June or May. And essentially, Pogo Cosmos was kind of a shady org that was kind of trying to make like money matches happen in Pokemon Go. Mm-hmm. And it kind of seemed like a pyramid scheme when PanicK reached out, because I think PanicK was the main, I would say ringleader, but the main liaison between Pogo Cosmos and Pokemon Go. And so, to my knowledge, he DM'd a bunch of creators. I was one of them. And he's like, oh, like I would make like $1 like per referral, something like that too. Which I'm thinking like, oh, if I'm getting $1, you're probably getting like $2, right? Like there's some if there's a pyramid scheme here, PanicK's in every one of them. He's above me in this one, right? I'm just kidding. I'm just messing. That's just a joke, right? But he was definitely in this one, and I just left him on red because like this was kind of weird and sketchy. I'm not really sure, right? I didn't respond or anything. But, and then eventually we found out Pogo Cosmos was kind of a big scam, and it kind of imploded, right? And a lot of creators that were involved in it probably felt a little embarrassed, PanicK especially. Sure. So I posted that, right? And I think a lot of people got a kick out of it too. Yeah. And then he went back and he responded. He was like, yes, I took an L on Cosmos. I've learned a hard lesson. Exposing DMs is also not appreciated. And he lists out all the sponsoring org. I was like, all right, I got it. And I was like, I could apologize for exposing DMs. I'm like, dude, you sent this to like 50 content creators here, right? And you were in the wrong here. Look, I don't care. Yo, you think if Elon Musk sends me a scam tweet, right? You think I'm not going to expose it? I'll expose that DM too. Like anyone trying to, I know he wasn't trying to scam me, right? PanicK, he just didn't know better. But look, let's not act like this is some like sensitive information you're disclosing about your personal life, PanicK. You copy and pasted the same message to everyone. You replace Caleb with Rise to the Occasion, with like Liquid King, everyone, right? Whoever you're sending it to. Anyway, I responded. I said, all right, got it. And my apologies. I'll keep things more anonymous for next time. And I would say it wasn't a real apology because I posted the same screenshot and I just blurred out his name.
Oh no.
Yeah, it was a good time. I had a good time there. It was funny too. He's streaming when this was happening, so I hopped into the stream just to see how he's doing. Right, I'm not one to like bully people to make him cry or anything like that. So I was just checking on him, and you could tell I was looking at his face while he's GBLing, and he was like typing back on Twitter in between. And I'm just like whenever I post a tweet, I just stare at his face and see until he reads it and see his reaction. It's like pretty funny back and forth. And of course I went in there. I was like, look, no hard feelings. Like I'm just joking around. Like, and to be fair, like we did get destroyed pretty hard by Stadium Elite, right? It is what it is. Yeah. And I don't know how it came up, but then we talked about Pokemon Go boxing, right? Like chess boxing, like the thing. I was like, look, like if you want to sell this, you want to throw down, let me know, right? I'm in Hartford. And I think he initially said like yeah, but then when I explained to him, I think he was kind of backing off a little bit. Again, I'm not really trying to box someone, but if it comes to it,
I don't know. Do you want to be Tyler Peng or Caleb Durden at this point?
Yo, let me tell you, actually, random fun fact. But I used to really, I still think Fight Club is a brilliant movie, not for the fighting aspect, but for like the underlying allegories and analogies and everything, right? It's actually pretty deep, all things considered. But so I used to watch it a lot as a kid, and so the main character's name is like, slight spoiler for those, it's been out for like over 20 years, but for those that don't know, slight spoiler, the main character, he doesn't actually reveal his real name. He goes by a bunch of like pseudonyms and stuff, and so like you don't actually ever figure out his name. One of the names he used was Cornelius. And so a lot of times I would like, for different like accounts where I had to make, right, where it's like I don't want my real identity, because usually I just do Caleb Peng, right? But for times where I don't actually want to use my real name, I'll sign up as like Cornelius something. So I use a little reference to, no, it won't be Peng either. I'll change it to some other last name with P. Yeah, it's still the same initials, but yeah, so it'll be Cornelius something. And yeah, because it was Fight Club was a great movie, and I liked Cornelius.
Really good.
No one's also, I mean, there's some people named Cornelius, but most people aren't.
Yeah, it's an old school name like Bartholomew or something like that.
Bartholomew, yeah, Bartholomew
Yeah.
as well. But anyway, that was the Twitter stuff. For anyone that thought I was serious, I mean, no, I wasn't. Hopefully, Pan didn't take it
Yeah.
super hard, But yeah, if you're gonna come for my team just because I made a joke about a NASCAR thing, like, hey, go for it. Look, I don't forget anything, by the way. Let's just put it this way. I remember all the beef and drama. I just will drag it out once in a while, right? If it needs be. But typically speaking, I'm just sitting there on the sidelines just reading up on all the drama and all the stuff going on. And speaking of things that are happening while I was reading up on the sidelines, this is a perfect transition to our last tea topic of the week.
Yeah.
And it was Arlington. It was at Arlington. I'll give a brief breakdown of what happened, and I'm curious to hear your thoughts first, because you're viewing from an outside perspective, right? Like third party perspective, because you weren't there in person. But essentially, what happened was it was in day number 2, top 8. It was in the losers bracket, so winner goes home. Or loser goes home, winner moves forward. And it's Axon versus Arrow, and Arrow was up 1-0, and then Axon was against in game number 2. Axon had to catch a drill run from the Dunsparce on his Medicham to potentially have a chance to win, because he had a Frost Dust and the Arrow had a Frost Dust in the back, so you need to save by take out the Frost Dust and the Dunsparce. And Axon made an incredible catch on the Medicham. Arrow purposely paused his Dunsparce on a fast move, so that essentially what happens is if your Pokemon are in the middle of a fast move, you can't possibly swap out. The only time you could do this is a 1-turn fast move, because every turn is like you can swap on a turn, so you can't actually throw in the middle of a turn for a 1-turn fast move, but for 2-turn and more, you can. So for essentially the short version is Sableye has Shadow Claw, 2-turn move. If you throw in the middle of the Shadow Claw animation, Accident can't possibly catch the charge move. So that's what Arrow was going for. Axon, I believe, also paused at that same time, expecting maybe Arrow to swap or do something like weird. I don't know. I should know why he paused. I think he was trying to counter pause. So it was kind of like stuttery on both ends by design, right? Not mechanically, by design. But Axon was still able to catch. Arrow paused and everything, and Axon was able to catch. So Arrow disputed it and said, if he didn't catch that, then I would have won, and I waited a turn. So because I waited that turn, he should not have been able to swap. And if you watch the video, it does look like the Shadow Claw animation is a little quicker, right? Because he's instantly able to swap after throwing the Shadow Claw and ended up catching the drill run. Based on my personal experience, 2-turn moves are really unreliable these days to implement that strategy. I think 3-turn, 4-turn, 5-turn moves is much easier because you can actually time the animation. 2-turn moves are so quick. Part of it is like a personal reaction time, but also like the animation to wait for it and see it. Like sometimes it's like kind of unreliable. But Arrow disputed, and it's totally in his right to dispute. And it was a super close call. I think at the end of the day, like I asked some other people's opinion on this after the fact, right? Some people that are judges and stuff. I won't name names because I don't think they haven't consented me to do it. I think most of them do say that the rematch was warranted. Again, me personally, like, there's nothing wrong with this. Like, I don't blame Arrow for this at all. If I was Arrow in that situation, I just wouldn't dispute, because like there's so many like frame drops and stuff that happen from time to time in every game, and that one was a game defining one. But I'd probably just move on, be like, hey, that was a great play. Like, that was an incredible game too. Let's just move on. But again, it's within a player's right to dispute, and I think a close call like that is totally. It's not a bogus call, right? It's not like if you're like disputing like. I dropped a SmackDown against like a Medicham in a Medicham versus Bastion. Like I'm not gonna win that matchup regardless of how much I lag or how much I don't, right? So it was not a bogus call by any means. And Arrow disputed. He got it. He got the rematch ruled in his favor. And so a lot of people were like, whoa, that's like, some people were like, it was so minuscule and so close. And if you're not watching it in slow-mo, it's really hard to even see.
Very hard.
And like there's the community is pretty split on this too, actually. Like it's still not even clear like if it should have been rematched or not. But Arrow got the rematch, and then he won the next game too, right? So the rematch game. So it would have been game 2. So of course it's best out of 3. So in a sense, like Arrows, the result would have been the same, but the thing you always have to consider is when you go through that kind of stuff, it could like be mentally draining for the competitors. So they might be off their game for the next game, or they might bring a different line now because they had the rematch, right? Like the lines they brought, both of them brought, might not have been the same if the rematch did not happen. So Anyway, so there's a lot of factors to consider, but Arrow did end up winning either way. Essentially, in the record, it's 2-0. But even if the rematch didn't happen, it could have been 2-1. And then they got off the stage, and they were interviewed by Jared Honda, who is the CEO of Go Stadium, the org that oversees stadium and leads and creates a bunch of helpful tools and website and everything, and been around for a while. And so he was, so he obviously didn't know what happened there, so he wanted to kind of get like a on the floor perspective, right? So he interviewed Axon and Arrow right when the conversation, like, hey, like explain what happened, like what was it, why was this view happen, and how was it done? And Axon says some stuff, explain like, yeah, like I get it, like the judge said this, and Arrow just pretty much agreed. It's like, yeah, that's what happened. And there was a lot of backlash on social media, especially Twitter, and there's
surprise.
There's a couple of reasons behind this. I think the video that Jared Honda did had good intentions by all means. I mean, I think overall Jared Honda has good intentions in general, so I would never call his like values into question, I should say.
No,
or morals into
definitely
question.
not.
But I think what he saw was, oh, there's a dispute. And last time we had a big dispute, it was Doombug versus Bird Power, I think, right? And that did not end so well for Doombug. And there's a lot of social media stuff. So I think he was trying to like get a little bit ahead of it and fully explain it so that it doesn't turn into like a no one knows what's going on thing. So for those that don't think it's rematch, where they're all going to just dogpile on top of Arrow, right, on social media, or the judges, or both. Which I think unfortunately had the opposite effect. But that aside, too, I know two of the judges there, Enhoff and Endun, are associated with Go Stadium too, right? Enhoff is a player for Stadium Elites and probably has some other roles within Go Stadium, and then Endun also is associated with Go Stadium and has different roles as well. I think might be the CFO. I'm not actually completely sure, so don't quote me on that.
Essentially,
yeah. But anyway, they both volunteered the time, traveled to Arlington to judge, and I don't really know the specifics of this, so I can't actually speak on it because I was backstage. I wasn't even casting it at the time. But they were judges at events, whether they judge the calls and stuff. Like they can't say as judges, and I don't even know, so I'm not even going to that. But some people were saying like, could be conflict of interest, could not be, right? Because stuff and like I don't even share my personal take yet. I'll let you share your personal take, but there was a lot of stuff related to that. And then Jared Honda also did a stream afterward last night, covering the stuff and also apologizing because I think the video did not achieve what it intended to do, and he eventually took the video off of Twitter, so you can't find it if you're trying to right now. That's fine. But anyway, from your perspective, what did you think of the situation?
So I think there's like so much to unpack here. There's like so many different layers to this. So essentially what okay, so let's first talk about the mechanics of the dispute, right? So you can tell when a fast move leaks through or when the game doesn't function exactly how it's supposed to happen when things are consistent. But when players stop offering inputs, like you said earlier, especially with 2-turn fast moves, there's a lot of inconsistency. A lot of things don't work every single time the way that they're supposed to work. So visually, right, if Arrow is anticipating that Axon will keep on tapping, then the Shadowclaw animation should start right after the charge attack. But not only are the fast moves inconsistent visually, but especially after a shield or charge attack, there are tons of inconsistencies there as well. So what I saw happen from my perspective was that both trainers stopped tapping because Arrow was waiting for the Shadow Claw and he was trying to wait a half second and then throw his move while Sableye was jumping into the air. And on the flip side of that, Axon was really desperately trying to catch the drill run in the meta champ. So he was waiting for the rollout to come. But Axon offered it to input and Arrow did not. So essentially, instead of the Shadow Claw animation taking 2 turns, it came through in 1 turn. But so after waiting 1 turn, throwing a Shadow Claw, having that happen in 1 turn, and then Arrow then pressing his charge attack, it eventually landed onto the Medicham. Now, visually, that's very high level because it opens up a whole can of worms for players to say they lagged when essentially they just stopped tapping, which I don't even want to get into how many different ways people could exploit that and try to use that to their advantage because it's really nasty when you think about it. But the reason it was such an issue is because Play Pokemon is still very new to Pokemon Go, and they don't have like a fully developed rule set on how to deal with these things. So even though the two judges that were at the desk were not Enhoff and Endon, but they were two other folks, essentially they tend to defer to the people who know more about PvP. Again, to back up your point as well, I don't know to what length the other judges were involved. So I'm not going to sit here and claim conflict of interest or anything like that, because I sincerely doubt that happened.
Mm-hmm.
Even in our community, there's so much integrity. Whenever Cindy would battle, King would never be on stage, and he wouldn't even watch the battles.
Yeah.
Right, when King was judging,
he doesn't even scrim with her before the tournaments.
Exactly.
Like, I don't want to have any impact on your result.
So he's got no impact, no involvement, anything like that. I assume that's very similar to what actually happened here as well. All that being said, the dispute was really ugly, and I feel that Pokemon Go is it's experiencing a lot of things that other esports and traditional sports have experienced for a long time, but we're still new to it. Like BMing, for example. That's like the equivalent of scoring a touchdown in dead time in a football game and then doing like a dance in the end zone, right? It's gonna piss people off. They don't like that, right? When you flaunt that you're already ahead. But it happens not only in esports, right? I was watching a Halo stream the other day, and one guy got a kill, and then he walked over to the player he just killed, looked at their body on the floor, and like shook his head left to right, like no, right? It happens all the time. And that kind of psychological warfare is a part of other esports as well. So like,
and just sports in general.
And sports in general, exactly. And this thing as well, like when refs make calls on certain plays, those refs take a lot of heat. A lot of NFL refs get like death threats. People try to find out where they live. For example, if you think back to the 2018 NFC Championship game with the Rams and the Saints, when there was like that blatant, obvious pass interference call, when the Rams player, cornerback, just tackled the Saints receiver before the ball was even like in the direction coming towards him, and it didn't get a flag, Saints fans like started a petition, like the whole city. They were so mad. Like they were so frustrated because they didn't get to the Super Bowl because of that. And this thing is going to tend to happen. So we just have to account for the fact that refs and judges are going to get disproportionate amount of blame when things don't go the right way. Now, to the next point about JR, he was trying to prevent what happened to Dunebug. And Dunebug, and I've held this position for a long time, Caleb. Dunebug always treated the game as if it worked how it was intended to work. What I mean by that is somebody like Thotetsuko could go up on stage at EUIC and he could have some lag, but he could look at the team composition and say, you know what? It was too tough. I couldn't win that matchup. It's just too much. I just concede the match, which he did. He actually did do that.
Yeah, at UIC.
But then Dunebug at EUIC, exactly. But then Dunebug will go up and he'll have a team comp disadvantage. But if there's lag or something occurs, he believes in himself so much. He thinks he's the best one out there. And he said, I could have won. My opponent could have made a mistake. I could have found a win condition. I could have, whether he's right or wrong, he believes that. He sincerely believes that. And a lot of players are going to believe that. They're going to believe in themselves that much because they are just bred to be competitors, right? That's not just a Dunebug thing. Other people also feel that way. We just haven't seen them yet. And essentially, when the game doesn't function the way that it's supposed to function, and you as a person get penalized for that. Like I was reading the comments, like so many comments went undeleted about how he was like slime and scum and a terrible person, and how he was like vindictive and he should be banned from all future tournaments. Dude, there was even a regional VOD that went up on YouTube a couple weeks ago, and somebody commented and said, so what are the updates on Dunebug? Is he banned from Play Pokemon yet? He wasn't at this tournament. He wasn't involved. He wasn't on the stream.
He's
like
going
he
to
wasn't
Japan.
Dude,
update.
Yeah. But what I'm saying is that like Dunebug as a person got shredded, and it takes a lot mentally to like read those comments. I know like on Twitter, right? We can get like 100 nice messages or comments throughout the year, but if you get that one comment that really kind of touches a nerve and really bothers you, that's all you think about, because it can affect you psychologically. But Dunebug got dozens and dozens and dozens of those comments. If he went online, it wasn't safe. If he went to a Twitch stream, people were tearing him up. If he went to Twitter, people were tearing him up. He couldn't go anywhere in his own community without getting destroyed, right? And JR did not want that to happen to Arrow. Now, the thing is, when you stand out in front of a train, you got to expect to get hit, right? It might not be a full-on hit. It might be like,
That's quite the analogy.
I'm just saying, like if you step out in front of something, it's still coming. It's not gonna stop,
Uh-huh.
right? So JR trying to do the right thing backfired in a big way as well, because again, like referees don't give interviews after a game about why they made a call. Like the
Mhm.
call just has to exist. It just has to be there, and that's just how things go. And I think as a community, we're still learning that. And I understand, like you said, I don't ever question JR's values. I know he looks out for the community. That's what he cares about first and foremost. He looks out for his players as well. And honestly, like if you were in trouble and a person you looked up to didn't step in to try to help you, you might feel that down as well. You might say, well, you know, JR didn't try to help me, and I feel like he let me down that way. So I understand he was in a tough position, but honestly, we're gonna have to learn to be a little more hands off with this and just let things happen, because the referees don't give press conferences because they know what would happen,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. And I think
It's tough.
like I don't think anyone did anything wrong, right? I think maybe
No, it's such a
the
gray area.
it's such a gray area. Well, also again, the dispute, I still not sure about the call, right? I get like it's kind of like what you said, right? If you assume the game's gonna work how it's intended, then then yeah, that's probably something you definitely want to look at. I just assume the game's not going to work as intended most of the time, right? And that's like, I mean, it's for my own sanity too, right? Because like, if you're like, because I see some people's streams, and I'm not even going to name names because I can't even think of anyone off the top of my head, but they know the mechanics so much. It's like ignorance is actually bliss, because knowing that much about mechanics, you miss like back when like fast food denial was thing, dude. People would be so mad. Right, people would be so mad about the stuff they would like stop attending tournaments and stuff like that because of the state of the game.
Yeah.
And me, I'm just like, you know what? It's better if I just don't even think about it, right? Sometimes I'll deny, sometimes I won't, blah, 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 right? Like, I think knowing all the mechanics and how things should work will put you in a more upset position when it doesn't work in your favor. But at the same time, you have to always think about like there's going to be a lot of times where it's going to work in my favor, right? And so it kind of
Mhm.
evens out in some ways. But again, for this specific issue, it was game impacting. So if it was something working as not intended, then if it didn't work as intended, then it's disputable.
Yeah.
I mean, the thing is, I've paused and stuff. Like sometimes, I remember at GBL sometimes it looked like my opponent wasn't throwing fast moves, so I just didn't throw fast moves. I let him catch up, right? And some people
Oh
were like,
no.
"Dude, like you're weak. Like just take advantage of the lag, whatever." Like other people wouldn't do the same thing for you. I don't care, right? It's for me. Like I don't want a freebie win like that. You can say whatever you want, right? Once in a while, just if
Mhm.
the game's like timing out, I'll like throw a few fast moves. But I learned from that mistake though, because when I don't throw fast moves now just to like take advantage of the lag. I pause there and their Pokemon were getting faster through, and I couldn't visually see it until
Yep.
I decided to throw one. And all of a sudden, it catches up, and they have another Pokemon there. I'm just like getting farmed
Yep.
down,
And you
right?
lost half your HP, and you're like,
Exactly, exactly. And I thought they were lagging, but instead, I was just pausing there, and like the way fast moves work is really weird. Sometimes when you don't throw a fast move, you don't see any visually coming through. I mean, obviously in this
Mhm.
situation, it was very different, but like even PvP Poke commented on that initial video that JR posted in the thread and said something along the lines of like when you pause or something like that, fast move. You know what? I'm gonna find the specific one so I don't
You're not
misquote
sending an
PvPoke.
input to the server, right?
Yeah,
So it's
so
like,
things can be weird, right? And PvPoke obviously
mhm,
knows his mechanics. So let me see if I can
mhm.
find it. It was what's today's date? The 19th. All right,
Yeah,
so
20.
he wrote something there, and I just want to make sure. Oh, maybe it's gone. I don't know. I don't
Yeah.
see it anymore.
Much
So
much love to, while you're scrolling, much love to PV Poke, because he did post a lot of stuff for the holidays as well,
mhm.
upcoming metas and different analysis, like Frenzy Plant Chestnut is already in the website, all kinds of stuff like that. So
Yes. Yes. No, definitely.
it's
Yeah.
really
Shout
hype.
out to PeteBook too. Um, always providing us with some really valuable resources here. All right. Okay, let's see here. I think I'm close to it. Is that
Mhm.
chestnut? My apologies for the delay. I didn't have this pulled up, but I don't want to misquote here either. Okay, so I think I'm close. Um, okay,
Yeah,
game behavior,
go ahead.
just specifically from PBoke. Game
Sure.
behavior is also pretty unpredictable once you stop tapping. Super succinct, but super accurate too.
Mhm.
And like it's a strategy that you can implement from Arrow, so I don't blame him for doing it because he needs to prevent a catch in that situation to win. But at the same time, like again, like when you pause, like game behavior is not going to act exactly the same. So it's kind of a risky strategy in itself, but it is a strategy he needs to do to implement to win the match, and that's exactly what he was going for. But that being said, oh my gosh, it looks like we actually have the Winter Holiday Part 2 coming up. Maybe we'll just throw
Did it
that in
just
here.
drop?
Yeah, I think it just dropped.
my
So maybe I'll just
God.
throw that in there in a second.
Nice.
It's just ironic because we're just talking about how it's going to drop sometime. But yeah, anyway, we'll wrap this specific part up first. But yeah, anyway, what I was gonna say is I think all the parties involved were well intentioned, and unfortunately the situation was just kind of weird. And again, this is one of those times where like Jared Honda's trying to get in front of it, and people say like, "Would you have done this if it wasn't Arrow disputing, right? If it wasn't someone from the Go Stadium, team, right? Maybe, maybe not." The problem is because you are associated, Arrow does have the association. People are going to bring up questions that may or may not actually may or may not be conflict of interest. I can't say for sure, right? I don't know. Jared Honda hasn't done this before, but again, like there hasn't been any big disputes since the Doombug bird power situation either. So he might have done that if that was Doombug and Axon playing, right? Neither of them associated with Ghost Stadium. He could have done the same thing. But again, that's the risk you take when you are associated with these players and you make a decision like that. And Jared Honda obviously apologized to Axon, Arrow, Axon's mother as well, and for putting them through that situation. And hopefully we'll move forward from it. But it is tough, and I don't blame Endon. I don't blame Enhoff. Like their judges there, they're asked to help out. They got to help out, right? They're volunteering their time. It's not free. You don't get. I mean, I think they get a small stipend as a judge, but not enough usually to cover costs unless you're local, right? So I mean, I think, but the problem is like if you don't have a lot of judges that know the mechanics, what are you gonna do, right? You have to rely on the people you have, and again, they're there to help, and they were asked to help. What are they supposed to do? Not help, right? Like,
Exactly.
So again, like I think knowing them personally, I don't personally think that they have any conflicts of interest, but I get why people say that. It is what it is. Yeah. Tough one. Tough one.
And it's crazy because we can't predict these things happening. Like as much as we put our minds together, we can't foresee what the next dispute will be.
Yeah.
We just have to put a structure in place that actually deals with it in a way that doesn't like pit the community against itself. Right. We don't need to like cannibalize each other. We just need to kind of just like in any other major sport, right? There are some calls that are really bad calls and there's some calls that are really good. And there's a human element to all of it. Unfortunately, and that's the thing as well. Like even major sports change their rules year to year to account for new things. So again, I don't think any one individual should take the brunt of this, but it's tough, man. I'll say it one more time, dude. When you stand in front of a moving car, you're probably going to get hit.
It went from a train to a moving car.
Yeah, the car sounds more gentle.
Yeah, it's a little. It depends on what they're driving, I guess, but that's true.
It's true.
Anyway, so that's pretty much the tea this week. There's a lot going on here, and I think everyone kind of is just reeling from it. I hope no one's like throwing hate comments or anything personal at these people, right?
Yeah.
Whether you think like the judging system or whatever should be different, like that's fine. But like I think like hate comments aren't really warranted. Yeah, no, they definitely aren't. So I wish the best for all those that are involved, and hopefully they're able to kind of move forward with this after some time to reflect and heal and whatever, right? That being said, I was gonna wrap it up here, but let's just breeze through this part 2 of the holiday thing. I sent you a link on Discord so you take a look. I mean, here we go. Gotcha. Let's graphic coming on the screen right about now. So I'm just making note of this per usual. But
I did not see the evolutions coming into this. This is a bit of a
I didn't either too. Unfortunately, we just had the community where he evolved EVs to the stuff. I messed up. I need a Umbreon with Psychic for Great League because I forgot to do it. And this would have been best time past community day, right? This past weekend. I forgot to walk ahead time. So no! I couldn't evolve it. Yeah, it was such a good rank one. I have a good rank one for Great League already, and I won one for Psychic for Great League. But
gotcha. That's
Might have to
rough.
be a
That's
lead
rough.
TM down the road. Yeah, I should start walking now so that the next time this comes around, I don't have the same problem. But I completely didn't even think about it until I saw that come around. But anyway, so part 1 holiday is happening. Part 2 is on its way, and Eevee and everyone the evolutions can be found wearing holiday hats in Pokemon Go. Shout out to Galix again for the graphic that we have on screen here. But yeah, so it'll be holiday hat wearing Eevee, and then all of the evolutions. This could be shiny, which means that I assume the evolve form can be shiny. On the
Yeah, it
graphic,
should be.
it's on on the Pokemon graphic itself, it doesn't actually have shiny versions, but it should be because you should be able to evolve the Eevee.
Yeah, why would you catch a shiny then evolve it up and it
It
loses
doesn't have
its
it's not
shiny?
shiny, right? Yeah. Yeah. Which out of the evolutions, which one with the hat looks best for you? They kind of look goofy to me, not gonna lie.
Which one looks the best?
Yeah, don't
Okay.
they all kind of look a little goofy? Eevee looks the best with it, but the hat
Um,
gets smaller based on their body
it
size.
does. Like Flareon's head is the
Yeah.
smallest by far. It's like tiny.
Yeah.
Who do I think wore it best? Who wore it best? It's got to be Jolteon. Jolteon wore it best
Really?
easily. Yeah, not
Flareon
even
just
close.
looks goofy. Kind
Yeah,
of like Glaceon too, but I don't know. But Glaceon already has a
yeah.
better holiday fit. Yeah. Umbreon looks kind of
Glaceon looks
weird
good.
too. Looks like a random strawberry on top of like a burnt cake.
It would it would have been cool if they put the hat a little bit larger and over one ear,
Yes,
just like some of the
yes.
Pikachu's. But
It looks
it
like it's
is
all
what it
going to stay with like the same size, kind of like the Croagunk to Toxicroak
Uh-huh.
thing. And speaking of evolutions here too, Cubchoo wearing the holiday ribbon now can be on Beartic. You can now evolve it. Before you couldn't evolve it, which means gives me hope for
Save
my
your costume,
Spiel.
Celio! Or
Yeah.
Seal, excuse me,
Yeah,
Spiel.
yeah, but again, this ribbon is so small I could barely see on this Beartic right now. I mean, like, come on, what's
Yeah.
going on? They're really staying true to the size. So based on this
They are.
prediction, then on Walrein, that scarf's going to look like a piece of thread, I think, around his neck.
Oh, you know what would have been cool, Caleb?
What?
If the tie would have been on top of the bear's head if it was female,
Yeah.
but a bow tie if it was a male.
Ooh, that's
Dude,
pretty
let
dope.
me design
Like
this,
it.
Niantic. Come on.
Yeah. Hire Speediest Chief too before the fight
Hire me.
with Ferrikster.
Yeah. Before I get canceled for real.
Yeah, yeah. But anyway, Winter Wonderland. We got okay. So from the 24th until the 25th, it's just the weekend, I guess. We get
Christmas Eve, Christmas.
yeah, event bonus, one extra special trade per day. That's fine, but that was a season reward before too. Adventure instants activated during this event will last 30 minutes. Pretty cool, but again, just 2-day events. Lucky exchange. The number of guaranteed lucky Pokemon a trainer can receive in a trade has been increased from 10 to 15. Starting now, if you trade a Pokemon that has spent time in a trainer storage since 2017, it is guaranteed to become lucky until the limit is reached. This change is permanent, will stay active going forward. So I guess what I'm interpreting this is on Saturday the 24th at 10 a.m.
Mm-hmm.
That's when it happens. So that
Yep.
means we are guaranteed to trigger like 5 lucky Pokemon, I guess, from
I thought it
like
was
5.
15 a day,
Well,
right?
50. No. It's like it used to be 10 for everyone, lifetime, right? But
Oh,
now,
I see what
it's
you're
up
saying.
to
I see what you're
15.
saying.
So my guess is because we've probably already done it. I know I have. You
Yeah.
probably have,
Oh,
right?
yeah, yeah. I have
So
to.
so
Yeah,
maybe we each theoretically have 5 left. It's kind of a weird mechanic because I don't know how many people know it. But essentially, if you've never traded any Pokemon in your store since 2017, the guaranteed lucky time frame, you're guaranteed to have that be a lucky trade on results.
yeah. Mm-hmm.
But if you've already done that, then that means you already used your 10. My guess is maybe everyone gets additional 5 that have done that guaranteed lucky. And that
Yeah,
has
I
been
think you're
increased
right.
starting now, and this change is permanent will stay active going forward. Here's my word of advice. Don't burn it this weekend unless you have like someone you want to trade with. But if you need that lucky Galarian Stunfisk, that lucky
Mm-hmm.
Mandibus for Ultra League, you need that lucky I don't know, a Bonsly for Great League, right? Or
Talonflame,
yeah,
Umbreon
Talonflame
Ultra.
for Ultra, or what I'm personally saying for is Pachirisu, right?
Ooh,
Guaranteed
smart.
lucky Pachirisu for Great
Smart.
League, right? Or Purified Wobbuffet is also a good one. Yeah, Purified Wobbuffet is actually a really good one because you don't have to burn a special trade on lucky trade on that, right? Purified
Yeah.
Wobbuffet can get the 100% as well. Then that would be good. So you'd be guaranteed to get it. So I'm gonna say my 5 for future trades with people, but we shall see. But yeah, that's it's gonna be good. It's a cool change. It's not like game breaking, but 5 extra luckies, guaranteed luckies, or 15 for those that haven't taken advantage of them. It's good. There'll be a collection challenge as well. Blah blah blah. Hasuan Avalug raid day. Hasuan Avalug is coming, and it is here. Hasuan Avalug. It will be in 3-star raids. So start you know, trading the what's the pre-evolution again? We lived there all over the place. Bergmite, yeah. Start trading those with a guarantee XL, so you get some for Master League. Hasuan Avalug should be interesting. Is it rock ice type? I think
rock ice, just like Auroras.
Auroras, yeah. It'd be pretty nasty. I think maybe at least for raid purposes, but it could be pretty good. So that'll be on Saturday the 24th, 2 p.m. to 5 p.m. local time, and there'll be a period 3-star raids. You can count shiny one. 3 stars nice because that means you can probably sold them, and then you get earn up to 5 additional raid passes and increased chance of encountering shiny Hisuian Avalug, which is kind of cool. I guess you can't really evolve Bergmite into this, I guess, which is kind of unfortunate.
No, it's kind of like Raichu versus not Raichu, versus Alolan Raichu. Yeah, kind of like that.
Yeah.
So the shiny actually has like an orange sherbet, orange creamsicle beard, which is kind of cool. Orange creamsicle is what I'm calling it.
Orange creamsicle. Those don't really taste that great
it.
in my opinion, but that is a nice color.
It's a classic taste.
Oh, it's very orange creamsicle. Yeah, you're exactly right.
Yeah.
It's not a bad flavor. It just tastes very artificial to me personally, but I don't know.
Ice cream tier list when? No, I'm just kidding.
I'm about to do a tier list like every other week at this point. And then still more Vivillon, and the ice counters are still around the same for the most part. Eggs are still about the same. And then we have Kyurem in 5-star rates.
I really wanted Sneasel in the wild, man.
This is big. Kyurem caught between Friday the 23rd to Sunday, January 1st, will learn the feature tag Glaciites. Pretty cool. And Shiny Kyurem has already been released. But Glaciite has a chance to decrease your opponent's attack stat when used. I think based on the Pokeminers thing, they found it to be a better Icy Wind, which is pretty dope.
Yeah, it's like 5 less energy.
Yeah,
right.
Yeah, I got 2 hundos. I'll use the LTMs on them if it's good. Remember? Yeah. It's one of my luckier Pokemon, which I haven't done a ton of raids in because they're not that useful. But yeah, that's pretty much it.
I'm still waiting for Kyurem White and Kyurem Black. That's what I'm waiting for.
Yeah, how does that work? So there's like Kyurem White, Kyurem Black. Isn't there like some like weird like mix with Sogaleo and Lunala? Is that what Kyurem was, or something else? There's like some like weird integration where they're like morphed together or something.
Good question.
I haven't played.
Maybe someone more knowledgeable can let us know.
Yeah. People would be dropping. Look, we can also look it up easily, but if you drop it in our YouTube comments, YouTube algorithm, baby, more comments the better. Yeah. So I mean, hey, Ferrikster hates your response this time around. I hope he drops hate comments in the YouTube comments at least, so we get more comments.
Help our SEO.
Exactly. Anyway, so that's part 2. I'm glad we caught it before next week, because but that'll be all the way into December 31st, so we'll see. We'll have to talk probably offline on what we're playing for the holiday special, but we should do something. I'm down. It's been 2 hours, so maybe that. But anyway, any final words or
no? I think during the next week's episode, I'd love for us to like recount the year and talk about things that happened, what we expected to happen, what we're looking forward to next year. I think it's gonna be really good, man. But it's been a hell of a year.
Yeah, and you started, I think, around June or so. Were you even around when the Milwaukee Doombug bird power thing happened? Like, did we have a hot tea segment on that, or were you?
No, I don't think we did.
Maybe that was around when me and Zion were on a hiatus. We were trying to figure stuff out. I'm just going back and see. I'm trying to see where you. Oh, you started joining us. Oh yeah, no, that was complete miss. So you joined on June 22nd, episode 54.
Oh, so we've done like 24 together.
or roughly episode 54. I know. I actually now the episode numbers.
Oh
are
yeah, the
weird.
renumbering.
Yeah, I forgot how they work. I think it is actually episode 54 though.
Okay.
I think so. Wait, yeah, we had to renumber everything.
Yeah.
There was some renumbering. No. It's not actually episode. It's whatever the actual. The title is Welcome Speedy Chief. I'm looking on it.
Okay.
Oh no, yeah, we did have. That was the first tea topic we talked about. The Doom bug dispute.
Oh, okay, nice.
Yeah, our agenda was very small back then
Good
too, but
catch.
it was a Doom bug dispute. Yeah, episode 54.
Yeah.
So, back on June 22nd. Here we are, December 20th. By the time you hear this, it will be 21st or so, 21st, 22nd.
Yes.
So wow, so yeah, you've been here for exactly 6 months,
Dude,
half a year. Wild.
It's wild, dude.
Wild.
Time flies. Seriously, I know it's like
Time
an old adage. People say it, but it's crazy.
Time flies. Well, appreciate Zonic for all that he helped with the podcast prior, and I appreciate you for taking his position and bringing it to higher forms of media as well. We got YouTube now. We got graphics. We got people with beef. Adding you on Twitter, like that's great.
I know.
No one was adding Zionic for beef.
look at all you've accomplished, Caleb.
It's true. I've been stirring that pot strong here. Anyway, that I think wraps it up for us. But thank you all for watching as always. Happy holidays for those celebrating any of the holidays. Hanukkah, I think we're on day number 2. By the time you hear this, maybe day number 3 of Hanukkah. Christmas coming up. I'm actually don't know my Kwanzaa dates. Other holidays I'm also less educated on, so please educate me. But hope you have a great one. Hope safe holidays, and we'll catch you all next week, maybe in a holiday special.
Peace. Sounds good. Happy holidays, everybody. Peace.